we're going to begin. Welcome and thank you for coming to our Tuesday, August 16th GPNC board meeting. My name is Ben Deisinger, I'm the chair. And if anyone would like to go around and introduce yourselves, we can start over here with Sandy.
Hi, I'm Sandy Garcia. I'm the educational rep. Nice to see you all. I'm Jamie Ramirez. I'm the Area 3 rep.
Christopher Alvis, organizational rep with the Eagle Rock APRA.
I'm Mark Gianni, also an organizational rep from the Northside Police Law.
I work in Area's Lines rep.
Ben Deisinger, the large rep.
Brian Frobisher, faith-based rep.
Heather Thomas, Area 4 rep.
Billy Greenfield, Area 5 rep.
Okay, with that, we're going to move on to item 2 on the agenda, guest speaker requests. First up.
Hi, my name is Paula Machan. I work at Mujeres de Latinas. It's a nonprofit that's located here in Cypress Park. We work with Cypress Park and Russell Park. And I want to invite you all to this event that we're going to have here at the Sotomayor Learning Academy Center. It's related to earthquakes. It's first of its kind because we did a partnership with Caltech, and the seismologists from there are going to come and explain a little more about what are earthquakes, how they're formed, what to do, and what to do after an earthquake as an individual, a family, and a neighborhood, a community. Because most people don't know what to do after it becomes more. We have experiences from different parts of the world where most of the accidents occur after the earthquakes come because everybody's rushing and panicking because of the event. So, and when I said it's first of its kind, it's because it's going to be directed mostly to the Spanish-speaking community. It's going to be in Spanish with English translation, and the reason we did this is because the seismologists in Caltech had informed us that most of the Spanish literature is not cultural relevant, so people are not getting the accurate information. So we want to make sure that the Hispanic-speaking community gets all of the information. We're hoping to have a seismic truck that simulates a 7.2 earthquake. There's going to be the Red Cross and information from the city to show you, to give you more information about earthquake kits and to be prepared. So it starts at 10, it's August 27th at the Sotomayor Learning Academy. It's going to be divided in 3 segments. There's going to be a talk, a 1-hour talk, a 1-hour panel, and a 2-hour hands-on workshop. So if you're interested, I have information, or if you have any questions, I can.
Sorry, when was it again?
It's August 27th at the Sonia Sotomayor Learning Academy. I can give you
Yeah,
the
I'll post it.
flyer, and if you would like to share it among your networks, I can also provide it on a.
It's a nice thing. Also fancy.
Ironically, it was the cheapest way to go.
Yeah,
with
nice.
this.
Turn us on to that printer.
We printed this for you.
Great.
It's a great printer. So thank you, and hopefully you guys can join us. There's information on where to RSVP or to call me. It's direct, and I can make a reservation.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we got Rio de Los Angeles. I think that's Art Camarillo. Oh.
I apologize, the committee did not draft the letter, so I have to just wait for next month. We're still on stage 1 anyway,
Okay.
and it's a 4-stage project.
Still got time to go? Okay, thank you, Art. Okay, item 3, official or public comments. Do we have any official comments tonight?
Good evening, everyone. Jose Rodriguez, Deputy District Director with LA City Councilmember Gilbert Cedillo's office. A few updates. A couple people have contacted our office asking about the status of the median maintenance. So contracts are scheduled to be heard and approved by the Board of Public Works this Friday, August 19th. They will be approved, and at that time, there will be issued a notice to proceed, and work will begin in 5 days for the contract renewals along all the medians on Eagle Rock Boulevard. So what we've been doing in the meantime, contracts ended mid-July. So we've been having the LA Conservation Corps doing spot maintenance on the medians, and they are continuing to do the water maintenance of the trees. LACC, our crew, as well as the Councilmember Mitchell Farrell's LACC crew, we partnered and we cleaned San Fernando Road from the CD1 side on San Fernando Road in Edward to how far on the underpass on your side, Hector?
So just about the other side of the underpass.
It's the off-ramp maybe? The off-ramp.
Yeah, the off-ramp, yeah.
So we partnered on that. As well, we had a very successful National Night Out with Glassell Park Neighborhood Council. You should all be very, very proud of yourselves and the community for coming out that night. I want to thank the fire department for participating and bringing out their apparatus and their EMS vehicles, and all the city departments, as well as private companies that brought out their vehicles. That was a great opportunity for the kids and for the families to get to learn more about the city departments, the function of those vehicles in the city. So again, I want to thank the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council for that partnership. You guys did an amazing job. We had also our office partnered with LAPD Northeast Division. We had a great Movies in the Park on August 9th. We showed Zootopia here at Glassell Park Rec Center. We had about 60 people that attended. Our office wants to thank as well the co-sponsors, Super King Markets, for donating all the refreshments and snacks for that night. Film LA for covering the fee for the license for the movie. Rec and Parks for making their space available. We had a really successful groundbreaking ceremony for the Glassell Park Transit Pavilion on August 11th. Where's Helene at? She's hiding somewhere. There she is. So if you don't know already, Helene has been the champion of this for the past 12 years.
A little more.
A little bit more, but who's counting, right? Yeah. So one of the many projects that we found that we needed to make sure got completed was this particular project. So we had a great groundbreaking ceremony of about 60 people that attended, give or take. And the project is scheduled to be completed no later than July 2017. It'll provide great amenities to that median for public transit users that are right now currently lacking considerably. So, welcome everybody. If you're not planning on attending Neighborhood Council tomorrow, the Clean Streets Challenge, how many of you are planning on attending?
At Ramona Hall?
Yeah, Ramona Hall. So for those of you from the community, tomorrow, August 17th, our office as well as Dunn and Public Works Sanitation Department will be hosting a Clean Streets Challenge grant workshop. We're inviting neighborhood councils and community groups to partner with the council office and the sanitation department on creating a Clean Streets project for your community. So we're looking forward to seeing what Glassell Park proposes for the Glassell Park community. Tuesday, August 23rd, I brought some information here for the Department of Transportation is going to be holding a public meeting at this location here. Tuesday, August 23rd from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. They will be providing some information on what the study team has identified for potential new dash routes as well as other transit services that the city provides. So I know that Glassell Park, as well as Legion Valley and a couple other communities have been wanting to develop a new dash route that connects the communities. So I know that that is an item that will be discussed next Tuesday. Again, there's some flyers here that has information about the meeting. If you're not able to come to that meeting, there's several other meetings across the city, as well as there's a website for you to visit that you can provide public information on your feedback, your thoughts on particular transit services that the city could be doing different or better. Verdugo Market. So,
What's happening?
what's happening? Yeah, Verdugo Market. So, for those of you that don't know, Verdugo Market was destroyed in a fire on August 4th, 2013. And since then, the property owner has attempted to sell his entire property It fell out of escrow in early 2015. So he decided to go ahead and proceed with rehabbing the site. They just finished final permits on a brand new electrical system in July. I spoke, finally got a hold of somebody today in March that's representing the property. They are having a very, very hard time attracting another market operator to that site. Some of the challenges are visibility. So I've extended an invitation to the agent as well as the owner to sit down and meet next week with our office to brainstorm potentially what could we do. Is there anything that our office can do to help attract a potential store to that site? Because our office constantly hears that is what the community wants to see back at that location, is another market, not divided retail space, that there's enough of that already in that existing parcel. So I will definitely keep everybody posted on that. And then our office is trying to identify either Santa Rosa Charter School or Glass Hill Park Elementary School to do a bulky item and e-waste collection event in October. I'm scheduled to meet with both principals next week to kind of look at the logistics of that site. We've had two very successful ones, one in Pico Union, one in Cypress Park. And the e-waste items that are collected, that are recycled, the value that's redeemed goes back to that particular school. So if we can do two in October, we'll definitely do two and hopefully benefit both schools. Yes.
Can you guys ever have those events and allow people to bring old cans of paint and stain, things that you can't put in the normal trash?
So yes, so that was what we want to do is a household hazardous waste, which is basically taking in all hazardous materials that sanitation collects. So sanitation department is on board to do that. We just would need to find a location that would be large enough. So for example, right now, Glass Hill Park Elementary and Santa Rosa Charter School are pretty small. But definitely we want to bring something like that to Glass Hill Park, because we are going to be doing one in Lincoln Park, which is a large, very large parking lot. And if we do something at Glass Hill Park Recreation Center, we would try to do it in a way that wouldn't impact the activity of people that are coming to the park. So that's the challenge, because there's nowhere else for them to park at.
How big of a space do you need?
Ideally, the size of that parking lot at Glass Hill Park Rec Center.
What about this parking lot here?
There's no, it's
only one way in and one way out.
One way in, one way out. You need to have an exit and an entrance separate to just really help with the ingress and egress. No, he has his hands, so I defer into the chair if you want to.
Go ahead, Jim.
Sherwin Williams on Colorado Boulevard, go up Verdugo, make a left on Colorado, walk down, Sherwin Williams, and take all your unused units.
Even if it didn't come from them?
That's cool. Then the last item is I invite everyone to join us this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at Sycamore Grove Park for the council members' third annual Latin Jazz Festival. I brought out some posters here. Gives you the lineup. If you're not interested in coming out for the whole day, at least one particular band that you're interested in coming in here, then you'll know what time to arrive. And that's it for my updates, man.
Great, thank you.
All right.
All right, next up, Hector.
It's gonna be pretty short because Jose did most of my updates. So just real quick, I see that Jose mentioned, just I'll touch on what he touched on. I saw that he printed the flyer as well, so I have the flyer as well, and I did print out the one with all the other dates. So I guess we're good on that one. You got the Glass Hill Park one, and I got all the rest of them. So yeah,
Globally, I think.
right? So just so you all know, every month I produce my monthly report, just hot topics of the Glass Hill Park area. So if any of you have any questions, my contact information is here. I'll just go over it quickly. So like Jose mentioned, at the back of the flyer, it mentions 3 different ways to get in touch with the department. If you have any comments to make, any official statements that you'd like to make, questions, concerns, you can reach out to them there if you can't make any of the meetings that will be starting next week. Also, just to let you all know, our office has generated a survey regarding the home sharing ordinance. We want to basically get people's take on what they feel about Airbnb. Basically, if they have concerns about it or what their thoughts on it. We want to hear from folks. Right now, it's going through the process through the city council, so we just want to get the input from the community. I know I've sent it out, so those of you that are on my email list should have already received it. So thank you for those of you that have already submitted it. But if not, the links to our home sharing ordinance survey are on my report as well. And basically, we just want to hear from both folks that use the Airbnb service and folks that are basically affected by Airbnb. So say you have a neighbor that rents out their unit for Airbnb, we want to hear from you. Or say you use Airbnb to supplement your income, we want to hear from you as well. So we want to hear from both sides, and we want to make sure that we kind of get the full picture of what the folks think in the district. So please fill that out if you have a chance. The deadline will be closing on August 31st, end of this month. Let's see. Also, I know we're semi-connected to the river here, but I know there's been some concerns from folks regarding the water quality along the LA River. So I just wanted to let you know the information that we were able to, that we've been disseminating to folks. Basically, it's not suggested that you swim in the river. It's not suggested that you drink water from the river. That's kind of been widely known throughout, and there are signs posted to let folks know. But it is safe to kayak in there. You can use it. You can enjoy it. Just make sure you're not using it as your main source of water. So make sure you also avoid face-to-hand, or skin contact with the water. But if you do come in contact with the water, make sure you take a shower, wash it off. Make sure because it is. We don't want anyone getting sick, and also the river is closed 72 hours after any rain. Because a lot of our storm drains do get onto the LA River, so just make sure you're aware of that. I have a little bit more detailed information on here for those of you that want to read it as well. Also, as I mentioned, that we do have our clean team that does do spot cleanups throughout the district. Like Jose mentioned, we partnered our office and his office and our office partnered together to clean up the border of CD1 and CD13 on San Fernando and Fletcher, or Fletcher Drive and the 2. Should I say? So if any of you have any locations, hotspots, or any nuisance activity that's constantly going on, we can send our teams out there to go and address those. So feel free to let us know. Keep those complaints and concerns coming in because we want to make sure the district is looking nice. And also, I know I've partnered with a few folks here to do various neighborhood cleanups. So if any of you, say GPA or GPNC, wants to partner and do a cleanup, we can also do that. We can assist with tools. Water, bags, gloves, everything that you guys need for the cleanups. And we've even been able to coordinate with some local businesses to provide donations of like water or some food. So if any of you want to plan anything or take it upon yourselves to plan something in your community, let me know and we'll be happy to coordinate that for you all. Lastly, let me see if I have anything else. That's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions for me? Comments, concerns? Alright, thank you.
What should you do if you eat a fish someone caught out of that river?
I don't know. But let's hope you don't.
Always interesting.
Just gotta stop taking our bets.
Yes,
Quick,
sir.
I'd like to say thanks for helping us out with the brush clearance over on two.
Oh
And
yeah.
also those
No
other
problem.
issues I called you about.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. And feel free to keep those concerns coming. I know some of you like to say direct everything to Benjamin, or feel free to just direct them my way. It's why I'm here. So feel free to keep it coming. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other official comments? Can you take a comment?
Sure. Hi gang, how are you today? My name is David Archer, I'm a battalion chief. I'm working overtime here in Battalion 2 today to serve this area of Glass Hill Park also. I normally work at our Metro Fire Communications Center. That's our 911 call center that's downtown LA, next, right across the freeway from Piper Tech. Nothing really prepared for the council today or the group. I do want to point out a couple of things. we had to have an incident yesterday on the other side of town, just off of Avenue 40 in Figueroa yesterday, an apartment fire, where it was a burnout of one apartment on the first floor, and we had a couple injuries from that fire also, which leads me to my point is I can't stress enough your own home safety. If you don't have smoke detectors, please put smoke detectors in your homes. Especially in hot days like today, make sure none of your electrical circuits are overloaded. That can overheat and cause a fire in your house. And of course, your smoke detectors would alert you in the case of a fire or anything like that. And be cautious with everything you do inside. Unplug unnecessary electrical items and what have you. Tomorrow, I just got notified a couple hours ago I know many of you work. There's a huge fire that just broke out in Devore, which is in San Bernardino County. It's threatening hundreds of homes right now, and tomorrow the weather's going to take a turn for the worse. So we're going to go. Yesterday we were in extreme fire weather. Today we're very high. We're going back into extreme tomorrow, and we're expecting humidity to be in the teens or maybe single digits in certain areas in Los Angeles. Not us, but certain areas of the county will be in red flag tomorrow. And be very careful. In your drives around town, if you see something, don't hesitate to call 911. You might be the only person that sees this. And you talk to the operator, one of our call takers. Be informative or ask a lot of questions just to kind of narrow down where you're at and what you're seeing. Please don't ever be shy to do that. And coupling what I think Hector was talking about the LA River. We all love the LA River, but yeah, if you know anybody that can go, hey, I'm gonna go take a swim in the river, please don't do that. We've had, in the time that I've been here, I'm an Eagle Rock resident. And I've been working in this area for just over 20 years now. I've been to a couple incidents in there from people either falling in or swimming, and it's not had good results. So please, if anybody has the idea they want to go do that, tell them to just be cautious. And most of the time you see our kayakers that are out there, they're properly suited up, they're all wearing their body suits and flotation devices. That's fine, but just be cautious. And I don't know what to tell you about the fish. Cook them well done, I guess. Anyways, anybody have any questions, for me or the other fire department by any chance? And when we talk about Devore also, yes, they're screaming for help. They're very short firefighters throughout the state. We did send them 5 engines from LA, and our outlying resources from XLA, Culver City, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, sent them 5 additional engines also. And the whole state of California is short right now because there's fires up and down North, Central, and South California. So be safe out there. Sir?
Would you be sending anybody out there possibly?
We did.
Okay.
Yes, we did. We sent 5 engines about 2 hours ago. And if you watch the news or you go home tonight, watch the news when you get home, they're really short. They got up after the aircraft dropping retardant in there, and then it's just
It's too big.
it got big very fast. And being pushed by a little bit of a wind too. So, and we haven't even touched on what is our historic, authentic fresh season in Los Angeles. But we're just getting hit early this year with the drought and the dryness and the weather that we've been having. I'm here for any other questions. Thank you very much for allowing me to attend. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. And with that, do you have any public comments tonight?
Hi, everybody. I'm Roxanne Coyne. This is my friend Yvonne Taylor. And we would like to invite you to an emergency preparedness meeting that's going to be presented by the Red Cross on August 24th. That's next, what is that, Thursday or Wednesday, Ivana?
That's a Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. It's going to be over at the Verdugo Community Church, right there on Verdugo Road. This is a 1 hour meeting, 1 hour long meeting. It's pretty basic, but we're really hoping to get our communities out there. Yvonne and I are hoping that this could be the first of more preparations for the community. We're focusing primarily on the Sagamore Park area, which is where we both live, but everybody's invited to attend. And our hope is that we'll create awareness about emergency preparations and then perhaps even follow up with Map Your Neighborhood and CERT training. So that's what we're doing, and we'd love for you to come and tell your neighbors. Is there anything else that I left out?
Because we're partnering with the Red Cross, we will be doing some fire safety trainings and hope to give away some home fire alarms and do CPR, things like that. There's also a program with the American Red Cross where they partner with churches. So we've taken that step to partner with this church in hopes that other churches will do the same thing and become kind of a hub for communities when there's some sort of disaster and people are in need. They will know where to go and know where to take injured people, that sort of thing. So it's just sort of a first step for us in our little area, but we hope to grow it and do more training.
What was the date and time on it again?
That's Wednesday the 24th from 7 to 8.
And Helene has just let me know that the area is area 6 and 7 of Glassy Park, of the neighborhood council, 6 and 7. Oh, good. Oh, we got flyers for you. Oh, good.
Have you set up an event on next door?
We're going to be posting it today.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll post this flyer.
Thanks.
Great, thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Do you have any other public comments? No? Okay, and with that, we'll move on to item 4 real quick. I'd like to invite everybody to some pizza and some drinks in the back. There's also some salad. Item 4, roll call and determination of quorum. Wanna go ahead and do the roll?
Everyone, Laura, I'm here. Jamie Ramirez. Yeah, okay. Heather Thomas, here. Billy Greenfield. Here. Patrick Clary.
Here.
Antonio is not here. Tony Macias, not here. John Henry Wall, not here. Molly Lynn Taylor. Present. Chris Alves. Marge Piana. Here. Sandy Garcia. Here. Ryan Frobisher.
Here.
Benjamin Dyson.
And I'm here. And with that, we have quorum.
Oh, right, alternates who are here.
Anna, you're an alternate too, right?
Great.
Right, yeah.
Great. Okay. Item 5, review corrections acceptance of the meeting minutes from July 19th. This is our first supporting document. Anyone want to make a motion to approve or change?
I motion. I'm not listed as being present, I was here with late.
Oh, you are, you're mentioned later in the minutes when you arrived, but when in the beginning, it doesn't have every, because there were a few people who came and left.
Very good.
But you were in.
I did see you somewhere.
I saw that, I just didn't know for my scorecard.
No, you're fine.
Arrived at, just because, I'm just saying it might be good to put Billy here, because if you're ever scanning to say, was he here, you don't have to go through all the
And
minutes.
do that, yeah, I can do that.
Because, you know, you need to keep track of people who miss
Absolutely.
meetings. And you don't wanna look at this and go, oh, Billy never showed up.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I provide it late too.
Yeah, no, I have that in there, but I'll edit that to make those changes. Thank you.
Great. Do we have anything else? Make a motion to approve.
Sure.
With the question.
Start with the modification.
Yeah.
Then we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any no's? Do we have any abstentions? Great.
Okay. Oh, we just did.
That's too much paperwork. Okay, item 6, report from me. This month, we had our National Night Out, which was a overwhelming success. My favorite event I've ever seen in Glassell Park. We had an estimated 2,000 people come out. We had about 16, 17 trucks show up, about 40 community resources tables. It was absolutely amazing. We had all 3 council districts, council members come out and speak. And I really want to say thank you to everybody on this board for helping and putting in all the time. I learned firsthand that it's not easy to do this, especially as a volunteer job, so thank you everybody. Appreciate your hard work. Let's see. Okay, we have a lot of things on our agenda tonight, so I'm going to try to be speedy. I'm also going to try and enforce our time. So just keep in mind that discussion should be very, very limited, if at all. And with that, I'll move on to item 7, recommendations from the treasurer, Marge.
That was 6.
That was 6.
Oh, you need
Oh, 6A, sorry. As a report, at our last executive committee meeting, the executive committee voted to change their meeting time from the first Tuesday of every month to the second Tuesday of every month. And item 7.
And I do not have a prepared MER for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not yet on the bank account, so I just received a copy of a statement, and Dunn just supplied the correct form for doing MERs that actually calculates this year's fiscal year. So, and I haven't received complete receipts yet for the July expenditures. So as soon as I can collect that, I will input it and we'll have MERs.
Cool. Okay. Item 8, accept self-nominations for Area 2. Do we have anybody who would like to self-nominate for Area 2?
I would like to nominate myself.
Okay, and what's your name?
Jasmine Rivera.
Jasmine Rivera.
JASMINC.
JAZMINC.
JACMINC.
Jazz.
Yeah. No, I.
That was an odd one. I see Jasmine with a Y, but never.
Do we have any other nominations? Great. The election will take place at the next board meeting at September 20th. Unless only one candidate nominates and the residents in Area 2 can be verified at this meeting. Were you able to bring any verification of your residency?
Yes, I do. Starts here.
Sure. We'll make it official.
Alright.
Is that your address on here?
No, it doesn't have my address.
Uh-oh.
How about a driver's license?
I do have it, but it's just still not on me. I just got back from the airport, so.
Oh, you have something over here?
Yes, kind of.
Oh man, well,
I can email Marge a copy of it tonight.
we can come back to the item if you can get it
You
in
know
before
what?
the board meeting.
You wanna go home and get your stuff and come back?
Sure.
You can get, even if it's a bill like
I
that.
literally live like 2 blocks.
There you go.
Yeah, go get it.
Come on back.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll table that until Jasmine returns. Item 9, accepting self-nominations for GPNC board alternates. Do we have anybody who'd like to nominate to be a board alternate? Okay. Then, board member updates. We'll start with Area 1, who is also our secretary. And very...
And
Sorry,
completely
taking
trying
notes.
to do 2 things at once, I know.
Okay, let's see, Area 1, what happened? There was a really great backpack giveaway that Sandy and her husband Martine held. That was in the community garden and World Vision, right? Gave 200 backpack toys, so that was in Area 1. Cleanup. No, that was. Oh yeah, we had a cleanup. Wasn't that the last meeting? Anyway, but we had a cleanup, and I think it's great. I'm meeting a lot of new people from Area 1. People that we engaged with the cleanup came and helped out a ton for National Night Out, which was really great. And yeah, thanks.
Great.
Nice to see you.
Area 3, Jamie.
So I know I mentioned this at a past meeting, but it's the only thing I have to really mention again is that, so our deadline for our tree planting on Carlisle Street is Friday, and so I'm having trouble getting all the signatures because it can be hard to track people down, but I'm trying to do it. If I succeed, you'll see us planting trees in October.
Fingers crossed.
How many signatures do you need?
Between 15 and
Next up, we got Area 4, Heather. No updates. Area 5, Billy Greenfield.
Just currently working, a couple of things I got going on, working with Caltrans to clear brush along the 2 and all the trash around the on-ramp there. And that's why I was thanking Hector for his help, and also Stephanie Romero from Gomez's office. And we're also, sort of the residents near the evening were asking about painting where the fire hydrants are there red, because they were never done anything with the building when they put it in, so I'm working with DOT on that, or have some questions for that. And also put a no U-turn sign in front of, before you, on Eagle Rock, before you get to West Avenue 40 at Verdugo, because they have a problem with people U-turning right in front of the entrance there. You can't tell they're gonna turn, looks like they're going to there and cut in front of you, so it's big you guys are watching out.
Great, that's huge, thank you.
Hey, Patrick, you also painted that red curve on 42 Verdugo View Drive. We're still waiting for the stop sign on the opposite corner.
Where is that?
Avenue 42 in Verdugo View Drive.
Verdugo View Drive. Stop sign. See if I can follow up on that.
That was pending before you took over, so that's my question.
Also, Mitchell Farrell told me that he was working on getting a bus shelter for the bench there in front of
Yeah,
there.
because some people mentioned that too, and I'll heck about that.
Great. Area 6, Patrick.
Well, I was happy to see that this repair event being organized by Yvonne and Roxanne. Try to make more copies and get the word out to my neighborhood. And Marie D'Antonio and I are working on the setting up the village block party on September 17th. And trying to get signatures from businesses right now. Get that in by Friday. I need some signatures maybe on some of the forms tonight. Do more like that, so I appreciate everyone's help. And yeah, maybe you guys will be so way that will be next time. Pretty cool about it.
Cool. So our Area 7 rep, Marie, who shares the border with Patrick, unfortunately has to be away in New York on business right now. So she has to miss the meeting. So skipping that, B, Tony Macias is absent. Molly Lynn Taylor.
Good evening, everybody. So we did have a very successful national night out, and we had some local businesses that participated. We had Real Rock and Roll Movers, who brought a truck and set up a little bandstand, and they did a little photo shoot, which was really fun. In fact, Councilmember CEO even took advantage of that and took some great photos there. Commercial Painting and Coating was right across the street. They also participated and brought 3 trucks for us. They supported us last year and again supported us this year, so it was really great to have them there. Little Ripper Coffee is going to be opening in Verdugo Village. And on this side of Verdugo, there are a lot of businesses that aren't necessarily noticeable, but they have huge followings on social media. One of them is called Velo Love, and they sell like bicycle clothing and urban wear. And there's actually 2 stores in there. The other one is Swerve. And then right next door to there, and forgive me, it's Wako Bakoman, Baum Kitchen, Wako Bakoman on social media. And they are purveyors of like fine goods and interesting goods from Japan. So they import them, and then they have like a studio there, and they often feature their family on social media. And it's actually really cool. So there's all these, it's just right here on Verdugo, across from Verdugo Bar in a gray building. You never know, but one is a retail location. You can walk right into it. They have normal business hours. So there's a lot of businesses in Glassell Park. They're just kind of tucked away and maybe out of view. And so as we get to know them, I think it's a really great opportunity to shop local and support local business.
That's it in gems. Thank you, Molly. John Henry Wong is absent. Chris.
Hey there. Yacht Club, the Eagle Rock Yacht Club, we opened our fall season of dodgeball registration. So we play right here at Glassell Park Rec. So if you guys know anybody that would want to play, we love having people from the community come in and play. It's sort of what we're here to do. We get involved in the community, host cleanups, stuff like that. So if anybody wants to play dodgeball, you're more than welcome. Registration is $55, and that money goes back into the rec center. So We're also, the yacht club is currently working with the pool to try to get a bike corral installed. Richard, the director of the pool over there, has kind of expressed some interest in having a larger bike rack. I think they have those smaller U racks there, but they want to get like a larger one. So we actually were awarded a grant, $5,000 grant, which I think like half of that is going to be going towards the bike rack, the bike corral. So we're working with LADOT to get that moving.
That's awesome. Cool, thank you.
Can I speak, Chris, you guys still doing that, party, you guys were planning to talk about the last meeting?
Yeah, it's coming up later on the agenda. Sorry.
How's
Yeah, timekeepers. Next up, March Piatti.
The Hillside Produce Cooperative is celebrating its eighth year in Glassell Park. And for those of you who don't know, it's a very, very grassroots situation. Everybody once a month brings any produce that they grow or homemade goods that they have, honey, bread, cookies, whatever. Everybody brings it to one house, and it starts at 11 in the morning, and usually by 11:30, it's all gone. We put it out on blankets on the floor, and everybody makes a circle and goes around and just takes what they want until it's all gone, and then you disappear and it's gone. And then you get a giant bag of homegrown, amazing things. I mean, it could be lemongrass, it could be jam, it could be, you just never know what you're gonna get. And really, even if it's like I have gone there and said, all I have is tarragon, I have a giant amount of it. And it doesn't matter, you're part of it. So it's great, and it's hillsideproducecooperative.org, and anybody is welcome.
That's fantastic. Do you know when the next meeting is?
I don't, it just happened last Saturday, so it probably won't be till September.
That's great, I wanna go to the next one.
hillsideproducecooperative.org.
Or find them on Facebook.
Cool. Next up is our educational rep, Sandy Garcia.
Hi, everyone. We had a fantastic summer, and now school is starting. I'm gonna pass these around to all of you. Basically, they're pictures, captions, just portraying our summer that we had Glassell Park Neighborhood Council and your schools. The first one was the backpack distribution that Laura mentioned. We gave out World Vision gave out 200 backpacks to families at Drew Street in the community garden there. Also, as Ben mentioned, we had the Tetra Truck National Night Out. And there were a couple of schools represented, and I want to have more schools represented next year. So I'll be reaching out to them in May. So we have hopefully all of the schools there, so everybody can see. We have lots of schools in the community. I would love families to get a sampling of all of them from PK all the way to even a college on San Fernando. So the other thing, I did not have any fish in the LA River, but I did go kayaking with Soda. And what I liked about it was feeling safe because we were kayaking, but we had experts with us. So I don't recommend anybody to kayak alone. Make sure you take the conservation course. Somebody that knows the river, understands it, and they actually told us about how dangerous it is. It looks safe on the outside, but deep down inside there's undercurrents. So the Soda kids, high school kids, got to hear that and experience it firsthand in a safe way. And they also had the I See My River 2 festival, which again, community members came, participated, learned about the river, and had a memorial for the children who drowned in the river a couple of months ago from Soda High School. So that was a very emotional experience for everybody involved. And at the same time, again, we all learned about the river, its importance, and how to be careful and cautious around it. So I also have my email, as well as my Gmail account and cell number. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions regarding education here in the community. And Art, I will be reaching out to you regarding the thing that you had about the backpacks.
Yeah, I'm working with both the American Legion and the Vail Board's state offices to provide information from the school that they have children with active military parents. and they're gonna give them a backpack, and then also we'll give information to see if the families need any help. A lot of times, you know, the families are forgotten.
Okay.
And I'm working already with some kids.
Thank you. Last but not least, Brian Frobisher.
I currently have no one.
Okay, makes it easy. Moving on. Oh, you able to find it?
Yes.
Great, we can go back. Perfect timing.
Do we need a map, or do you just know where area two is?
I'm actually pretty good with your two.
All right.
So,
So
don't let us go on horn. So back to item 8.
yes, so it just needs to be proof of residence, right?
Azure 34, 2017, you got it. Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
All right, would you like to come sit up here?
Oh,
Sit where John.
Hey, you can sit over there. You're official now.
She won't be able to vote on
No, we're gonna have to get you all the training and everything else, but
fabulous, I can't wait.
future stuff. Okay, going back to item 11 on the agenda. First up, budget and finance. Do we have any reports from the budget and finance committee?
I mean,
That's the
it
anomaly.
depends. Even if it isn't me, the budget and finance committee did not meet.
Okay. Next up, bylaws. Jim.
The bylaws committee met August 1st, and you will hear later in the agenda about many of the recommendations that the committee is making. I did not attend the meeting, so I will defer to those who did to present that information.
Great, thank you. Next up, EDLU. Do we have Andrew, Ruby, or Helene present?
I am.
Hey, I see you back there.
Where are we going through the letters?
Let's go for it. Let's do item I first, the discussion possible action for a land use 101 seminar.
It is my hope. Oh, for a 101 seminar? Yeah, that's tentatively scheduled for, what did I say, the 23rd?
There's no date on this.
I think it's tentatively scheduled for September 23rd. It will be a joint effort hopefully, between the GPNC and the GPIA. Because it's hard to pull these things off. It's hard to get public officials working in the evening and setting up programs and doing educations in late hours. So I want to make this as much a community-wide thing as possible. I'm requesting $100 just for water and snacks. I've already reserved the room here for that, and it'll be at 7 p.m. in the evening.
Great, so the meeting is September 23rd at 7 p.m. right here.
Yes.
Got it. And $100 for refreshments for the event, which we will vote on later.
Yep.
So we'll move on to the second one, C2.
Do we vote on having it, or did we already do it?
To have it. Or this is just to funding request. We'll have it.
So that's the only vote, we've already voted that we're going to go ahead and have the seminar.
I believe so.
Okay, just to know.
Yeah. Second up, discussion possible action to approve, disapprove the letter regarding 2520 Hines.
For everybody with their supporting documents, if you want to turn to page 9, looks like it's the, shush. So, it's not that small. But this will give you a nice overview, which Lynn was nice enough to send, and then the actual letter is on page 11.
Let's see that letter.
And this applicant didn't show up at the last EDLU meeting.
Correct. Are we looking at
The
Hines?
issue on this is having two single family lines on one lot, is it? I'm just wondering what the issue is. It's that they want to have two single family lines on one vacant lot.
Yes.
There are two lots.
Two lots.
Is it Hines? It's 2 lots. Side by side.
Is it
On the upside.
Okay.
So the committee cannot will withhold their support for this project given that the applicant was not present and did not speak. So that is the letter we have on the floor right now. Oh,
It is, did I mention, I'm sorry, I'm just catching up to you. Go ahead, was there a question while I read?
Did we do any outreach to the houses on the other side of Hines on this?
We have a system now where we are asking the applicant to do that outreach. And so when they don't show up, we assume that they also did not do outreach.
If there's anything coming up on this, I can help with that.
It's a timing situation.
Okay.
We have to allow the applicant the opportunity to follow through. And then we have to figure out what to do when they don't.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve or disapprove this letter?
I move that we approve this letter.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
That was Molly's second.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Okay. Good. Next up is item C3. Discussion possible action to approve or disapprove the letter regarding 2512 Hines.
Same
Which is the same thing.
They're in the same letter.
They're in the same letter.
Okay. So then we'll skip down to 4. Discussion possible action to approve, disapprove letter regarding 3395 Cazador Court. Which is on, we're not on page 9 still?
Page 13. Oh, yeah.
With the pictures on 9.
Pictures on 9,
Letters on.
and the letter is on 13.
That's still on the
Yes.
So again, we're just voting to ask further approve it because they didn't do outreach.
And they didn't show up to the meeting. So the committee recommends that they cannot support this project. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yes. I move that we send this letter as well.
Do we have a second? One second. Okay. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? It's unanimous, okay? Next one down the line is discussion possible action to approve, disapprove a letter regarding 3079 North San Fernando Road, 7-Eleven.
Oh, page 14.
No, we just did that one.
Oh, we did Cazador?
That was
I didn't hear it. All right.
We're on item 5 now for 3079 North San Fernando, the 7-Eleven. And that's page 14.
Is this the one I was thinking of? Sorry, so there's been outreach to them for graffiti and litter and.
Yes. Wayne, you want to?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
Or just,
said.
this is 7-Eleven, just wanted to know, I guess, the history of it. So there's been outreach to them before about graffiti, litter, and issues.
There is, actually, when, in order to get approval from the city, there was conditions that had to be met. And actually, this has only been a little over a year that it seems that we're checking back on it, but by city's standards, they have 5 years before they have to go back to the city and prove that they have lived up to all the conditions. This neighborhood council set further conditions, but not set, requested. We don't have any teeth, but we requested they go a little bit further on that. I don't know, I can't explain why this came to our board at this time, but it did. And what it is the primary concerns are still there. We still have 4 driveways that spill out into San Fernando Road that's very dangerous. We still have graffiti on backside, poor lighting, and landscaping was a major thing that was part of the city's request as demands as far as, and as well as our requests that have not been met.
I saw a video of that meeting with Sherry Olson, and so it's your opinion that she hasn't gotten it to move forward on any of the recommendations?
That's what the committee felt since she was not showing up at this meeting to discuss it further. Now, they don't own the land, but still the city put certain requirements on that land that the landlord has to abide by, and 7-Eleven has to work out with that landlord in order to maintain their business.
So, I'm familiar with this area. In fact, I just went over to AutoZone and noticed that some of the landscaping requests are while they had requested permanent solutions, it's just a line of plastic containers with some shrubs, some alive, some not. The driveways, that was asked to be addressed. I was present at that meeting, that has not been addressed. I guess my concern with this letter is that 7-Eleven only has a small footprint for the entire strip mall. And I'm wondering if it's reasonable to hold them totally accountable for all of the other businesses that share that space as well. And I'm wondering, because I think that there are very valid concerns in this letter, and I think that as part of the Fletcher Square and the goal of improving that entire area, I'm wondering how we can address the concerns of that entire area, particularly that strip mall, without necessarily attaching it to a single business, because there are other businesses that play a part here.
Go ahead.
When they came to us originally to talk about moving into that space, they represented themselves as the voice of that strip mall. They were making the promises about looking into the driveways, all of the suggestions that we made, they took responsibility for enacting. We didn't even know that AutoZone was moving in there. There was no presence from AutoZone. It turns out to be the biggest occupant in that place. And of course, the restaurant and the Cricket Mobile, we didn't know about either. I mean, the restaurant we did, but it's 7-Eleven has come to us as if they represent the owner and the entire thing, and it has said things like, you know, they'll look into parking and they'll look into lighting and things like that. They represent it as if they were, in fact, responsible for it. I agree that, you know, they're not the biggest occupant, but.
Lee?
I totally agree with you. I think the situation probably is that the others are there by right, and 7-Eleven needed a conditional use because they were asking for 24 hours and extended hours of sale of beer and wine, which is why it went through the city process in the way that it did. So, you know, the only leverage we have is that it has all the same owner, and 7-Eleven is certainly financially capable of taking that leverage and leaning in for us.
Okay.
Is the property owner or the property management company, have they been included in any of the correspondence?
Initially, he actually came to one meeting early on, prior to this location setting up, and then we've not seen him since.
Okay, anything else? Does anyone like to make a motion on this letter?
I'll make the motion.
There, I make a motion that we.
I'll let Jamie
Go.
I just said, I'll make a motion to approve it.
approve the letter. Do we have a second?
Second. Prohibition.
Okay.
You do, I just want to say that the board has the option of altering some of the wording if it so chooses. And if it wanted to add some comment in there, they can.
I would be willing to support the letter if it was addressed to the property management company as well as the property owner. I'm not necessarily comfortable with, and I may not support a letter that's specifically targeted at a single business, addressing what are really property concerns. So,
I amend my motion to include that.
Make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion to approve this, including those other people that Molly mentioned
To
as
send the letter to multiple
recipients, yeah.
recipients.
Who are the recipients?
the property management company, if there is one, and also the property owner.
Still addressed to Lizette.
Well, I don't know, I mean, this is the tricky part of land use because they're addressing the issue, it's timely because there's a conditional use permit. So in essence, it's still attaching this issue to 7-Eleven, which again, I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but I understand the mindset behind it. I think for me, it's something that we definitely need to address. I'm just not sure that this is the most appropriate way to go about it.
Send it back to the committee.
Lee?
I just need to add, I agree, and Yeah, the way that it works in the city is the ZA is the one who set up these lists of requirements. Ours are separate but similar, so it was the city that demanded that these things be done. Which is why this is addressed to the ZA that was associated with this project.
So this letter specifically requests, that addresses lack of enforcement on the swift removal of graffiti and litter. There still remains a need for increased security, lighting, and loitering has not been discouraged. So those are the three main issues that have come from the discussion of our committee.
Yes.
As well as the I see following up, improved lighting and 2 driveways.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think it's up to the zoning administrator to, take the next step, contact building owners and property owners. I don't think it's our call.
Just quickly wrap it up.
Yeah, I think that the reason that we're sending this letter is that because it's, 1, in Glassell Park, 2, it's a land use issue. 3, we supported the original request for the 24 hours and all that sort of thing. We sent a letter saying we support it. These are what we would like to see. This Lizette, actually put conditions on the permit. What we're doing here is calling her attention to the fact that they have not met the conditions that she put out. We're also adding that they did not meet the conditions that we put forward. We have no, like they said, we can't demand anything. She can, and she did, and they haven't done it. So that's all we're doing is bringing to her attention that they did not follow through on the conditions of their permit. And that she now, before it becomes 5 years, that this would be a really great time to address it. Most particularly the security and the fact that there's a planter bed under that sign. There's a planter bed right there. It's full of weeds. All they have to do is plant some plants in it. Burger King across the street did it, Well Loco did it, even the gas station did it. It's those 4 corners, of 4 corners, that one is still the eyesore corner. And they had, it was part of their deal was to get it done. So my feeling is, we're not stepping on any toes by sending this. We're merely calling the zoning administrator's attention to the fact that they have not met their conditions. That's it.
We have one motion on the floor to approve this letter with the addition of multiple recipients. Bill, you seconded? Okay. Say it to a vote. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? 2. Okay. Passes, thank you. Next up, the Kinney Street Road study.
Yes, apologies, separate piece of paper, missed it.
Lillian, would you like to speak towards this?
Briefly, everyone knows this area, I hope, or you see the photograph of it, or you've seen the numerous dump trucks that have spilled over and on this road, or the switchback. We've been asking for a study to be done. We've been trying to work with our council members, and nothing's really happening. We think that this is a serious safety issue in our community, and so we want to take it a step further, go directly to DOT and start having a communication. What we're asking for is that they do a study of this road and what would be the solutions that would make this a safer passage, because it's one of only 2 major ingress-egress roads in the hillsides.
Okay. Got a motion to approve this letter? Do we have a second?
Yes.
Everyone's jumping on this one.
Yeah.
I heard it first. Okay. And any no's? And any abstentions? Great. Next up, last one for EDLU is discussion possible action to approve or disapprove a letter regarding Berry Knoll Drive. And this is number 16 in the supporting document, page 16. And 17. Helene, would you like to speak towards them?
Sure. In brief, it's one of our open canyons that is now getting infill. It's not about density increase, it's about the fact that a proper environmental report has not been done on this. And primarily we've had one owner. He started to do piecemealing, which is a few houses at a time, so you don't have to do a full environmental report. And then it seems as though he's been splintering off, and we've seen this happen in other parts of the community where suddenly land is sold to family members with different names, which is still piecemealing. We've been employing the city hall. So far, I think 13 homes are still under the same MND number. And we've been imploring the city to please take a comprehensive look, because the problem is the cumulative impact when you increase the density population and the cars on these roads like Kenny, and you don't have any mitigating factors that you are dealing with.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Anyone would like to make a motion on this letter? Any other discussion? Do we have any no's? How about abstentions? Passes. All right, thank you, Helene. Moving to grants and funding. I received an email earlier today. Bradley is sick and cannot speak tonight. The action item is discussion, possible action to approve a NPG funding for Irving Steen Magnet Middle School. Student Achievement Robotic Program. And there are a bunch of pages about this one. So, Irving Steen Magnet Middle School has applied 3 times to our grants and funding committee for this $3,000 out of a possible 10 to approve robotic motors, battery units, mini processors, a robotic training wheel, and gear units. They were kicked back several times because they didn't have the necessary paperwork. However, after the last grants and funding committee meeting, they were approved to come to the board. Here we are.
In our budget for this fiscal year, we appropriated $3,500 for neighborhood purpose grants. Of that, $2,500 was for schools and $1,000 was for nonprofits. So this one exceeds what we've allotted for schools and is only $500 less than our entire year's budget. So it's fine, but I just want to call it to our attention that we would need to move money from someplace else in our budget if another, and it's only August, if another request for money comes in for a neighborhood purpose grant or a nonprofit.
Well said. And do we have anybody from the school who would like to speak towards this?
I'm with the grants and funding that I guess the school failed to show up, but they were here, I understand, in June, and gave a demonstration of their robot.
Not totally.
Well, it was the last committee.
By the committee meeting?
Oh, at the committee meeting?
Remember they came in and gave us a demonstration?
No.
You don't remember that?
Not to the board.
Not to
Not
us.
to the board, right?
No.
No, it's the separate, right? Where did they give that?
I was absent that time, so I'm not sure.
You know, I'm on the committee also with Bradley and with my thought is this, we had so much problems with funding last year, like you couldn't, how much money we got, nobody knew, we couldn't get the right answers, so we kept pushing these people back and back. So my thing was, and what we came to the conclusion was to give them an opportunity one more time to come in and speak to the board, and let's work it from there. And if nothing happens, if they don't show up, then that's off. But I believe that they should have another chance to come in and talk to you all.
Right. Do you know if anybody from the grants and funding committee asked them to come?
I'm not sure, Bradley got sick on us and we haven't been able to
I
speak
believe
to
they
him.
were asked, they had to have been asked by Bradley. That's why I'm surprised.
Sick, I don't even know when Randy got sick exactly, but I just barely heard about it today.
Oh, so should we, can we perhaps
It's a
table this?
beautiful demonstration.
I'd like to see
I'd
it.
like to see it.
I mean, they just won a huge award, so.
No, I would very much like to see it. So can we table this, do you think, and have them come back next month?
Sure, yeah.
Invite them to come next
I
month?
just regret that one of us did not follow up to make sure that we.
I'll get with Bradley on getting the invitation to them, you know? They should definitely come back.
When's our September meeting?
September 20th. Oh,
I would actually ask that the board consider this because they're students and it's late for them to attend meetings. We know how successful they are because they've won a lot of awards. They've already showed the commitment because they've been attending the committee meetings. So even in their absence, first day of school was today, right? And so I would ask that the board maybe have the discussion and consider this further before you take it away.
We look at page 29.
Okay.
Is this what they're asking for? And maybe instead of the full 3,000, we could just buy one of the items that they're gonna, that they've got. Like they've got $2,000 worth of robotic motors and $2,500 worth of mini processors.
Sure.
I mean, maybe instead of 3,000, we could just say we'll buy this particular chunk. Just a thought. I mean, because Irving Magnet School, they draw from more communities than just Glassell Park, right? I know they're in Glassell Park, but don't they have students from Atwater Village and
Cypress, yeah.
so maybe they could go to the if they haven't, go to the other neighborhood councils and get them to chip in as well. They might get instead of having to spend $7,000 from their own discretionary funds, they might actually do better by saying Glassell Park gave us $2,500. How about you? Something like that. I'm just suggesting.
How much is this board willing to?
Well, that's the question. I'm not.
He's just making a figure right now.
So we
Sure.
let
Just
them know,
discussion.
Sure.
But I know the program is excellent. I worked with it 5-6 years ago, where I arranged that, anyway, I took him to JPL for a tour, and 3 of those kids now, I understand from the principal, are in an engineering college.
That's good.
So that's one of the projects.
Good one.
So my main concern with the NPGs is that it will benefit both the recipient as well as furthering the intention of the neighborhood council. And the last NPG that we gave in the last fiscal year was to the charter school across the street, also in the same area of Glassell Park, for their community garden. And we made some specific requests for them with regards to outreach so that we could let the community know what we had done and ask for photos of the project and just sort of wanted to keep that conversation going so that the neighborhood council would benefit as the school had benefited and the students had benefited. And while I think they did participate in one community cleanup thanks to Crystal, I think that conversation was abruptly ended. And I think that my main concern as we consider this is how can we make sure that our relationship with the school continues so that we're not just a bank, we're an opportunity for the community and the neighborhood council to be involved with one another.
Well said. Sandy?
And I think that's as the educational rep, I'd like to outreach to them also and follow up with that charter school as well. So if we do decide to fund them, and in that way, I really, it would be great to have them come and show us these wonderful things, and I would like to.
I agree with Molly because in the many years that I was here, that's what used to upset me. They would approve funding, and then you would see the kids from the school. Or like when we gave instruments to Irving, they came back for us the same amount for the next year. We asked what happened to those instruments. They gave them to the kids. We didn't give that to the kids. We gave it to the school. So somebody in the education representative have to really follow up and remind them to come, at least even send somebody in from meeting.
And that's a phone call away from me, and I'll just walk down to the principal's office, make an appointment, and have them come on down. And is it Solaria, the charter school you were referring to?
we can come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Billy.
I'll find out.
Well, I think it's, worthwhile to support it in some way, but possibly if it, once we come upon an amount, maybe give part of that amount up front, and then when they get additional funding, we give them a second amount or some other milestone that they have to hit in order to get it, partially help keep the conversation going, but also, to ensure that we're not forgotten, or, give them some incentive to complete the rest of it. March, they go to other neighboring councils, maybe, if they bring in some other funds, we'll give them more.
It sounds like we have a lot of questions to be asking them. We have a lot of uncertainty, and I'm a graduate of an engineering high school, so I know the importance of getting funding to have robotic motors and battery units, but I would like to speak with the applicant to decide. I would also like the idea of doing something up front or splitting the deal. So, right, Chris?
I'm just curious, I think, the $10,000 needed for this, if we were to, say give them $2,000 or $2,500, whatever that is, so they can buy the motors or whatever, it seems like all of these pieces are sort of connected in order for them to complete the work. So I would even suggest if we opt to give them $1,500 or $2,000, that's contingent on them getting commitments or raising that other amount, just so we're not giving them $1,500 worth of batteries that are going to go unused because they can acquire the other.
Sure.
Kickstarter.
So, I'm not sure of the parliamentary procedure on this, but I would like to see, Sandy, if you can outreach to them, and we can table this to the next meeting, and then have somebody come and talk and explain all these questions that we have, and we take from there. That would be my thought.
I'm just saying, is it timely? Is it time sensitive? Is this something that they have to have?
Is there a date for this money to be
Is there some kind of deadline?
I'm not sure, I don't think so, but I think they need to have it, within the next few months.
I think we need a lot more talking to with them.
Agreed, there's too many questions for me personally, and the expected completion date is August 30th, 2017.
No. April.
April, correct, sorry, wrong April. So I'd like to make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
Second.
And Sandy, are you gonna outreach to them
I'm
to
going to
talk
talk
to the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to help fund them. We gotta have some questions answered. So to table this,
Well, and also, I hate to say that what's in it for us, that we are, just, Molly was saying, what's going to be the ongoing relationship, or how are we going to be, is the neighboring council going to be, still in the vision,
I want a robot to bring me pizza.
Get the robot and go through all these documents.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill out an MER.
So we have a motion to table and a second. To table, who seconded? Is that you?
I second. You said, you motioned, I second.
Yeah, there we go. We'll figure it out.
I did something.
Alright, do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Okay, we'll table this to the next meeting. Okay, outreach, Sandy.
Well, as you spoke earlier about the National Night Out, 2,000 people, I think it's great that we had a good showing, and a lot of it had to do with outreach, both in social media as well as the big wonderful posters and flyers that were available for distribution to the community, and word of mouth, so a lot of people knew about it, a lot of people showed up, and businesses, including schools, and like I mentioned earlier, I would like to have all schools represented next year. There was I had a question regarding the newsletter. I'm not sure if it was funded by the board ahead of time for us to do a quarterly and monthly newsletter. So I don't know if that's something I can bring up now, or we have to do it later, but
We won't be able to take any action on it anyway.
okay. So I just needed to know about that, so.
Yeah, I gotta commend Sandy, she did an excellent job. 2,000 people, that just about
Oh, it wasn't
triples the
just
number
me.
we had last year.
It was a lot of all of us.
Okay. Public Arts, Crystal. Crystal is not here.
They didn't meet anyway.
They did not meet. And the WIT committee, Jamie.
Well, we had
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back for a moment to the outreach question. The outreach for newsletters monthly and quarterly is already part of the approved annual budget for the fiscal year, and there's $2,000 allocated specifically for monthly and quarterly newsletters.
Great.
Just as a point of clarification.
2,000 every month.
2,000 annually, it's part of the annual budget.
So you have to break
You
that
have to
down
break that
to-
down, yes, so quarterly, I think was $250 and monthly.
I had it written down. Okay. Jamie, website committee.
Yeah, so this is everything we did at the last two meetings. We covered a lot of ground. I'm going to try and go through this quickly.
Page 18.
Yes, page 18, your supporting documents.
So my thought process on this was let you guys know what we voted on and let you know that these are our recommendations to you, and then whatever things you guys want to vote on, we'll vote on. Some of them, like, you're not going to vote on number one.
It's just,
that-
we're gonna approve them all or disapprove them. We're not gonna go on them by item. Sorry. There's 19 of them.
Okay, well then, let me just kind of go over this real quick. Number one, Molly actually resigned from the committee, so it's me, Ben, Sandy, and Laura. I was selected as the chair. We chose as our mission statement, the goal of the website is to promote transparent operations of the GPNC and to be accurate, up-to-date, informative, easy to use, and inclusive of all stakeholders. Do I skip the funding requests until the funding request section?
No, we can go through it right now.
Okay. Number four, so we are requesting funding up to $250 from the board to switch to a new domain and host. Our current one gives us 2 gigs, and we have almost filled that up. But with Bluehost, it'll be unlimited storage. Unlimited. So we will never run out of room. And then everything else we're using is free, so the only money we're asking for at the moment is to pay for, and the reason it costs that much is that's not monthly, that's just, you pay for the whole 2 years up front.
Well, this is part of the supplemental document, so we've all had a chance to review it.
Right.
Can I go ahead and make a motion to approve the recommendations from the website and Internet Technology Committee?
Is there anything else funding on this?
There's only one funding.
It's GII would be the funding component, but
Okay, so that's not.
I think it's all it's great. It makes total sense. It's very common sense stuff. It'd be great.
Second.
There's, okay. Never mind. If it's in there, right? We'll consider it official if you guys vote on it.
You got it.
Okay.
Great job. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Great. And then the second item is to approve the $250 for Bluehost, the new domain and hosting for 2 years, and that's actually cheaper than what we're currently paying and for longer, so this is a pretty good deal. If anyone would like to make a motion to approve this.
I make a
Two
motion.
places on the agenda.
So
Well,
I
I'm
make a
just
motion.
saying, you broke out funding requests,
Right.
and then it's.
because that's what I thought.
It's very.
We will not come to go
Growing
over it
pains.
twice.
All right, I second the motion.
Great. Okay, to approve $250 for the domain and hosting. Any other discussion?
This is funding?
Yes. Okay, do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Great. Move to Bluehost. Okay. With that, it is 8:30. Would anyone like to take a 2-minute recess and come back? Stretch your legs, get some drinks? Okay, we'll take a 2-minute recess and come right back.
I've always been funding regular
Oh, really?
Okay. Everyone get a good stretch? Alright, back in session. Moving on to item 12, funding requests. The first one up is 12A, discussion possible action to approve up to $500 to purchase a GPNC projector for use at board and committee meetings. Mark, would you like to speak to this?
I can. We've been relying on, for the land use committee, we've been relying on Andrew being present with his own personal projector to show us the plans and all that sort of stuff. The last land use committee meeting, he was out of the country, so we didn't have a projector to show anything. Kind of luckily, none of the presenters showed up. So we didn't really miss the projector. But even if EDLU needs it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think also if we had it here, we would be using it as well. We would be looking at, the agenda up there. We might be looking at a bigger photo of Cazador and Hines. We might be looking at, there's any number of things.
might not print 600 pages.
We might not
Yeah.
have to print 600
If you
pages of
guys recall,
supporting
number
documents.
19 in WIT was that we will use the projector instead of printing
all
so much
lines up.
paper.
Right, so, and the likelihood is it won't cost $500. We're not gonna, show movies. So it's, and we did buy a projector screen, which is already here. So it kind of makes sense to have a projector as well.
Great. And up to 500, I say we try to keep it cheap and do the job for displaying documents. But other than that, pretty common sense. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve $500, up to $500.
Okay. And do we have a second on that?
Second.
Great. Do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Okay, up to $500 for the projector. Next up, discussion possible action to approve $1,000 in addition to the already approved amount to commission original artwork map of Galasso Park by artist Tom Land as a wall mural for the main room at the GP Community and Senior Center. It'll go on that yellow wall over there. Artwork would become property of the GPNC and can be used on promotional materials and in newsletters, etc. Marge, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. Tom Lamb is a local artist. He's the one who does the maps you see that look like they're hand-drawn, little bit cartoony, colorful, includes landmarks, but they're accurate. All the streets in Glassell Park will be on it. The issue that I ran into with using the city's map is one, it's not, you can't blow it up to 8 feet by 10 feet. It just becomes mush. It's also not particularly attractive. In this case, Tom said he would do Glassell Park in color, and then in order to fill the 8 feet by 10 feet as the rectangle, he would do the surrounding areas in black and white. So it'll pop on the thing. We can use it to say, where are you talking about? But if it's going to be something about like land use and you want a close-up of, like a Google map or something, that's when the projector will come in on the screen. But that will be referred to by pretty much anyone who uses this room, not just us. The GPIA would use it, the East Area Progressive Democrats maybe, the seniors, who knows. But it would be a community thing. In addition, you see that there are tables leaning against it. We've already approved the cost of the mural, having it printed. I am still waiting for CD1 to tell me what it will cost to have the city general services put it up like wallpaper. In addition, with the amount of money we already approved, we would have about $900 left. That could be for general city services and to purchase 2 sheets of 4-foot by 10-foot acrylic and clear to put up there and cover it, and then we can use a dry erase if we want to on it, and actually, show things. But regardless of the dry erase, we could protect it from the kind of stuff you see on that.
So we have $900 remaining from what we already approved. This
Right.
extra $1,000
So
goes
it's
to.
the extra that I would like to offer Tom $1,500 for original artwork to be created for us, and that we would own, so that we can use it. We can do magnets. We can do anything we want with it. Posters, giveaways.
Sure.
We can't sell them, but we can use them for fundraising. Outreach, and of course, right there.
And so we'd have an extra $400 for.
The general services, or we won't spend it and it'll go back into the budget.
Okay.
Similar to the projector, probably not costing $500. This is a figure that would allow us to at least offer him the $1,500 for original art.
Great.
And yes, it will be a vector and it will be any size.
Beautiful. And Tom Lamb's work, Mark had provided a snippet of it at the executive committee meeting. Looks great. It will be beautiful on that wall.
Will it break out the areas?
It can, unless you think they're gonna ever change. I was thinking that we would do the CDs, but they change every 10 years.
Maybe it's an overlay.
Well, on the acrylic, we could always outline
There
it.
you go.
We
Dry
could,
erase.
Yeah.
even with the dryer.
A lot harder to change a street than it is to remember that. Okay, do you have any more discussion on this item? All right, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make
What's your motion?
a motion to approve up to $1,000 in addition to the approved amount.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Great, I'm excited to see that.
Tom will be so happy.
Okay, apologies on the agenda. That's our first time doing this. So we're gonna have to, we already did C, so we're gonna switch down to D, which is back to Helene with the land use. Discussing possible action to approve up to $100 for a land use 101 seminar, and that's the refreshments.
Correct.
Pretty straightforward. Any discussion on this? Okay, anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I said.
Great. Any no's? And any abstentions? Cool. Item E, discussion possible action to approve up to $250. Oh, we already did that one as well. Apologies. Okay, item F. This is you, Chris. Discussion possible action to approve up to $600 for Operation Firefly plus bike ride. Can you speak towards this?
Sure. So the Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition does an event where they hand out bicycle lights. As hopefully maybe everybody knows, bicycle lights are required by law. So basically figured it would be kind of a good outreach event for the local community, whether it be kids, adults, whoever, to basically host like a bike ride, whether that be nighttime or not, so we can like use the lights, but do a little giveaway. We can basically print $600. You can print the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council logo on the lights. I should have brought them, but I did not. Yeah.
So the $600 goes for the printing costs of the lights
The actual
themselves.
purchasing the lights.
Purchasing.
and the printing costs, yeah.
Could we turn this into a pseudo block party where we ride through a specific area and we use that area rep as well as the business and educational reps and our community resources to kind of do cool informative stuff about the area?
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, what we're considering, this will come up a little bit later, is $500 per block party. And we want to involve the CDs as well as local businesses and all that fun stuff. So I'd actually like to see this become like a larger event. But with that said, we are approving or considering $500 per block party, which is less than what you're asking for. Sure. Is that $600 a hard line for a certain amount?
I mean, that's an estimation. I can, essentially zero in on that a little bit more. I think it really depends how many lights we want to essentially hand out. So if we want to sort of have sort of a sidebar after people want to sort of help plan the event, essentially, we can kind of figure out how many sets of lights we want to hand out, and that the budget will essentially be adjusted.
If you're saying that the $500 that was for the block party would go to the lights, then there's no money for anything else that all the other block parties are spending it on. So that seems unworkable to me.
I think we need to spread it out
To include it as a block party for events. For example, like so, if it's people riding around on bikes and having discussion and kind of going through the area, then $500 goes to the lights, and
You don't need,
that's it.
yeah.
That's what you got. And then you can ask for volunteers and people that come out and help. And there, for example, the Reyes with City Farm knows an amazing amount of the flora and fauna in the area. And can speak and help out, and that'd be really interesting. I'd be very interested to do kind of stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, okay. Anyone else want to discuss? Lee.
Yeah, I was just curious what in exchange for what demographic information?
Where they live, their zip code, whatever we wanted to collect.
What purpose?
Credit cards.
Yeah, credit cards. I think that email address, for example, one of the goals coming out of the board retreat was to do more outreach to the community. So if we can collect email addresses in exchange for bike lights, and then basically email them whenever something's going on, a block party, whatever the council has going on, that's value to me.
I'm gonna come back to you. Billy?
So I guess my question, when you say Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition, that's just an example, they're not.
They could be involved in some capacity, whether that be distribution, helping coordinate the bike ride.
But as far as the demographic information, we'd be collecting it, not them. And that's.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
Billy?
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable with it being tied that way, like, we'll give you this if you give us that. I would rather that people just willingly wanted to be on an email list and not kind of have that sort of coercion.
Come back. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm a member of the LACC, and be happy to get them involved. Maybe they can provide some funding to,
I've kind of reached out to them, I'm also connected to them as well, and there's a possibility, but it didn't seem very likely, but it's a conversation. Yeah.
please,
Molly?
I'm curious, is there a specific date for Operation Firefly, or is it just any time of year you decide to have?
Again, I mean, it was more of sort of getting the conversation started. I figured we could break into more of a planning sort of committee if the board showed interest.
So, I think other neighborhood councils have done similar types of events. I think Highland Park hosted one, maybe even Cypress Park. I think they were very well attended, especially if we can outreach to the schools. I know we have a lot of people in the community that ride their bikes to and from, so I think it's a great opportunity for the neighborhood council.
Great.
I'm wondering if there's some way to also give away helmets to the kids at this community. I don't know how
Yes.
kids wear, they're
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're under the age of 18, I believe you're supposed to wear one.
I'd be interested in connecting the schools.
I would definitely like to see this become a block party, a larger event where we can have things like helmets, lights, resources, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Any
I think
discussion?
we might even be able to get the other CDs involved and potentially they would throw some funds at this as well.
I think that'd be great. Definitely look towards that. And I think it would probably be great to hook up with the outreach committee and try to plan something and then work with the member at large and figure out which area would like to host this as their block party. Go ahead.
I don't know that it would necessarily be, I guess it would just be a different type of block party.
And there's all different kinds.
Okay, never mind.
Cool. Okay, any other discussion?
So the suggestion is that Chris should go to the outreach committee and discuss this with them. We're not approving,
Well, that's just what I spoke about. There's no motion. Anyone would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to connect with the outreach committee and come back to the board with a more solidified budget.
Yeah, I think you need a motion for
Not
that.
actually a motion.
And if there's no pending date on this, then I would recommend coming back and we'll try to look at all the different resources and speak with all the board members, et cetera, et cetera.
Just tabling.
So we'll table this.
Sweet.
Great.
So, table, 12F is tabled.
Okay, and coming right back to you with 12G. Discussion possible action to approve up to $600 for a summer pool party event. Chris?
Yeah, so in the past, the yacht club has previously permitted the Glass Elk Park pool for kind of a block party style event. We used the grass there to sort of barbecue, opened it up to our members. We did it, I don't exactly remember the hours, but it was before the pool opened. So it was kind of a cool kind of thing, because as you got into the pool, people were wristbanded, but yeah, just essentially kind of the same thing, opening up to the community, doing outreach. I think fulfilling sort of this block party idea that the board is pushing for.
So my concern with this one is that it seems like a promotional event for the Eagle Rock Yacht Club, as opposed to GPNC.
No, the Eagle Rock Yacht Club is more of, this is an example of what we've done before.
Okay.
This would be a Glass Elk Park neighborhood council event.
Like a pool party, GPNC. Gotcha.
theoretically have it like a winter
Yep.
pool party or something more timely and kind of weird and fun, like a Christmas pool
Absolutely.
party or something.
But it's not as nice to get out of the pool in your wet clothes and go stand in line for barbecue food cold out.
I mean, that's a fair point, but, you know, the pool is really popular in the summertime.
It's pretty hot in winter as well.
Yeah, also a fair point,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be more of a procedural thing for me, is I'm more so spitballing the ideas, you know, and funding. So that's more of the motion I'm sort of.
I think, you know, area reps have like their area parties, their block parties, but, you know, the other representatives should also have an opportunity to have their own way of bringing community together. And whether it's Operation Firefly or having a pool party or whatever, both these sort of check that box organizationally. And so honestly, like I would support either one, and I think a pool party would be so awesome because I still have not even been to the pool in front of it. So I think it'd be really fun to have that outreach.
Yeah, I think it provides a lot of opportunities as well with the diving board. You know, we've done things where you sort of have, for the kids, you essentially have like a cannonball contest or something like that. You know, just lots of opportunities to create fun and engaging, a fun, engaging atmosphere.
And so, in hosting the Eagle Rock Yacht Club events before doing something similar, these numbers for 200 to 300 for the permit and the food costs, are those speaking from experience?
Yes.
Okay.
How many, sorry,
Go ahead.
how many people can you feed for $200 to $300? I mean,
I think
we
it
had
did-
2,000 people at National Night Out. I'm assuming it costs more money than $200 in food. But, I mean, I don't expect 2,000 people.
Yeah.
But we have, you know, we're doing much better outreach than before, so.
I mean, I think it's one of those things, you know, you can't really expect to feed everybody. It's kind of one of those things, if the food is being served between this time and this time,
Yeah.
and once it's gone, it's gone.
You also should, also
Right.
or you do something like that.
And we could always, you know, tell the food truck people there's gonna be people at the pool if you wanna be nearby. You can't say no.
Well, I'd like also like to tie this in with F and say, bring it to the outreach committee, let's look into it and then come back with more solid material. Great, okay. So we're-
The only thing though is, I'm still of the opinion that this should be something that's summer. So next month is the hottest month of the year. It's gonna be over by the time, you know what I mean? Like the hot part of the year will be, like if this comes back in September and then it has to be planned from there on out. Kind of seems like,
You can make a motion to approve.
yeah, I feel like if we wanna do this, now's the time.
That's part of Los Angeles,
I-
is that we have a lot of heat for a long time.
But you can't necessarily predict it far enough in advance to plan an event. It's like, yeah, we'll have a random 85-degree day in December, but we'll also have like days where it's 50 degrees at night.
Yes, and-
What are the hours of being able to use the pool for events?
I believe the pool open, I wanna say it opens at 2:30 PM or something like that, and when we did the event previously, when you have access to the pool prior to the pool opening, that access continues through the day. So it could essentially be like the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council block party between, 10 AM and 1 PM, and then the pool time essentially continues when it opens up for public use.
So I could technically do an area 4 block party, hypothetically.
You should talk.
That's my thought, is to do that.
Well, yeah, because you were talking about doing a block party in September. The Verdugo Village block party is also in September.
The week before, yeah.
So I was going to say, we shouldn't do this one in September, but if you can bring this as to, together, then that would be great.
You mean all the areas?
No, if you used the summer pool party event as your block party event,
That's what I was thinking.
then it wouldn't be like 3 events in September, it would be still just be the 2, like one weekend and the next weekend, which is still a lot for us to handle, but not, that is 3.
There is one thing though, as far as the pool hours go, and I know this from doing the National Night Out stuff, is that they are open starting at 5 a.m. and people can come in and swim. So we're gonna have to do some coordination, figure out.
I think they're open at 5 a.m. but then they close at like 6:30. It's
Right now
something.
they're open from 6 to 8, and then they're open from 12 to 2:30, and then they're open from what, like 3.
Yeah, I think those are like their summer
But that's till
hours.
September 4th, and then it changes after September 4th.
When you get the permit, do they basically, they reserve the pool for your event and you're paying because other people can't come in? Or is it only able to be reserved during the times they aren't already having people there?
Yeah, I don't think they allow you to permit the pool during regular public hours.
So this would be in excess of that,
In
outside of their
access,
hours.
And do people still need to pay when they come in?
When you permit, no.
Sounds awesome.
That's not really cool. I really like the idea.
So would it be
So
in the
wait,
evening?
if it was a block party for a specific area, would other people then be allowed to?
Like if you're not in that area, like are we gonna card at the door?
You have to show your
ID
Area
card.
4. That's true, how do you prove that you're from
No,
that area 4? I mean,
But anybody can go to the Verdugo Village one too,
Right,
right? You're not gonna
yeah.
keep people.
it's just happening in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there needs to, the event needs to be in the area, not the people who attend.
So I'm gonna try to wrap this up real quick to move along. I have, if we're gonna be doing the Verdugo Village on the 17th in September, there's a lot of planning to this. Marie did this excellent breakdown of everything. I think it's gonna be a tester to see what we can do and what block parties are gonna be like moving forward. I would actually say if we could hold off on this an additional month until we figure out and then continue bringing a Halloween pool party.
Area 4 block party.
I
Just
would-
put it all
yeah.
together.
So I can't move forward with my 23rd.
I wouldn't recommend it. And the other thing is that there's the Council of Neighborhood Councils Coalition. I'll just get to that. But I would like to see it come back. This is an awesome idea. I just think we should use what we're gonna learn from this event coming up. Sure. Cool.
Yeah, and I would just suggest getting more very specific information about exact costs and like how many
And exact hours.
people, exact hours, exact costs, how many people can eat in the pool at a specific time, because the one thing about having this quote unquote be a block party is if only 200 people can be in the pool, then anybody else who's knocking on the door wanting to come in won't be allowed in. So that's sort of
And planning
thing.
resources. Sure. Cool. So let's table this for the next time, go through the same process.
No, it's not.
No, we have to vote to table.
I'll vote to
Don't we have to vote to table?
Good, yes.
Motion to
Molly.
table. We have to move to table something and vote to table it, right?
You can either table it and vote on tabling it, or you can just not hear it.
Possible.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can just move on to the next item.
So let's just vote for the table.
Yeah, so, okay, motion to table,
Second.
great. Any no's? Any abstentions? Great. Okay, next one. I did it for a second. Alright. It's 9 o'clock to move through this. We got H, discussion possible action to approve the other block party, up to 1,000, because it's a joint area 6 and 7 block party. Marie is not available tonight, but Patrick is. You wanna speak towards it, Patrick?
Yeah, we had a good meeting with the owners of Little River, cautious the upcoming business there, and they're gonna come up with a special drink, serve for kids, like a cafe and one for adults. And we're gonna approach the other communities, because they have, I know Coca has big farmers markets. Maybe just getting them a business, group that would form at this time, and then create a more, an organization that can meet up and come up with the village and do some events like this in the future. So, and National Night Out is inspiring too, so, getting the bouncy house in there for kids and the animals for adoption, stage for receivers, things like that. incorporate. We felt 1,000 was reasonable enough, you know. And maybe possibly get sponsorship from, say, maybe like real estate agents or something who might, you know, want to pay for booths space. You know, like charge $50 for a booth.
We can't charge. Can't charge. But the nice thing is, and I really like this block party because CD14 will already be holding their own event with the big ribbon ceremony. Weezer will be coming out with the big scissors. There's already the event going on. This is piggybacking on top of that, so we're using this to our advantage because they're going to be closing the street, bringing in all the CD14 resources. It just makes sense for this to be our test pilot on block parties.
Are they already closing the street?
Yeah. Yep. Permits have been forwarded. We're getting trash cans coming in. It's nice because the big advantage to doing these block parties with the CDs is that they provide a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic. Colleen.
I've been helping Marie get signatures on Area 7 side, and everyone that I've spoken to has been very excited about this. So it's getting some real positive support from the businesses and residents that live on that street.
Great. And I think some outreach in that area would be huge. Verdugo Village is such an awesome area and it keeps growing with Little River, so it'd be great to show some support behind that.
No, it will be opening around this time, that's why we set the date.
It's the grand opening day. Any other discussion on this?
My only concern, I guess, is the budget. $1,000 with all of the CD14 resources. I know that's up to $1,000. I'm just kind of curious, like around $1,000. What do you see that? Maybe you already said it, but what do you see that those funds?
Stage, bouncy house, party rental stuff.
Okay.
Equipment.
Yeah, the thought is 500 per block party, and since this is a combined block party with the village, it would be double the amount.
Definitely not gonna try to be extravagant.
Yeah.
Just want to have enough.
And the nice thing is that it's during the day, so we don't need lighting, which ate up a lot of the budget for National
Really?
Night Out.
Yeah, 10 to 2 is what we discussed, and I'm excited to just be able to like walk in the street, and those ficus trees will actually be useful for shade, you know, so I think we'll be comfortable and family oriented.
But I would like to piggyback on Chris's comment about budget. So just like a little bit of quick math. If we are intending to budget for every area to have a block party, and we also want to include organizational reps and business reps out of areas and potentially having block parties and different, butterfly thing. That's $500 per party times 14, which is $7,000. If our outreach budget was
$10,000 for events.
$10,000 for events. Like we just, have to see where our National Night Out money is. Like, we just have to be careful because I'm a little worried that there will be a bunch of money given out at the beginning, and then unless you're planning your block party in the next 3 months, if you want to plan a block party 5 months from now, we won't necessarily have the funds for it.
That's assuming that every board member throws their own block party.
Right, but every board member should be allowed to throw their own block party with the exact amount allocated for every other board member.
Jane?
Same comment was, what about the fact that we should all be entitled to this amount? If we say yes to this one, are we thinking about that?
Right, I think that this is a good tester and we're already piggybacking off of other stuff. But I think that we need to just be a little bit careful and look at our budget really closely before we start just kind of throwing it all behind, just to make sure we have and also it's the outreach budget is only so much. So we should make sure everybody's getting a decent share, because while block parties are super awesome, there are going to be other outreach events that we probably want to do and that we should try to save funding for.
There's all types of block parties. They don't, and I think if you shut down a street once a month, the community would come out here to kill you. So I think Some block parties, the design might cost a little bit more and others not. I used to throw them for under $25 and people were thrilled to come and meet their neighbors and get information on what was going on in the community. So one size does not fit all.
I think some creativity would go a long way on these. Last time, Molly.
So, a couple times already, the budget has come up in conversation just as we're discussing other items. And so it was distributed at the retreat, and I would suggest that all the board members have it available during the board meeting so that it's easily available. In addition to that, it's a living document, and so as we go through the year, just keep in mind that things can be changed. The board has already spoken and voted, and outreach is a huge number. It's 51% of our actual budget for the year. 10,000 specifically for outreach events and co-sponsored events. And so if $7,000 is a figure, then we just have to keep that in mind because the budget's already been approved and entitlement isn't a word that I use, but every board member should have the opportunity, if they so choose, I think they should choose, to have a block party. So I'm definitely in support of this. I think it's going to be a fantastic event, and I look forward to voting in favor.
We did want to use direct mail to advertise it, so that's a total outreach function. That would be probably more price.
Okay.
Certificates.
Right.
I'll move to approve $1,000 for joint area 6 and 7 block party.
Motion, real quick, Sandy.
Just real quick, as the ed rep, I'd like to be able to give something to the schools. And there's a flyer made, low cost.
Yeah, we're happy to have as many tables, as people want to participate, invite people out.
Great. So Molly has motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Billy. Okay. Do we have any no's? And do we have any abstentions? Great. All right. Then the next item up is discussion, possible action to approve up to $500 for the Area 4 block party, which we already pretty much discussed.
But I need to change the date.
We could change the date on it.
It's October 8th. I need to claim the date before it gets. I'm afraid if I keep waiting, it'll be.
How about we say it's the October block party? We got to speak with the pool, and there's still the due diligence we have
Even
to
if
do.
I don't do it at the pool, I want to claim a date so I can start working on it. If I don't claim a date in October, October will get taken. You see what I'm saying? If I wait until September to vote on a date, then
Right.
Then there's something else that's gonna happen.
Okay. And October 8th is what day?
It's a Saturday.
Okay, it's October 8th.
I would suggest that we not include a date as part of the motion, just in case something catastrophic comes about. And so I would move to approve $500 for an Area 4 block party.
Then I have a question then, how can I reserve a date? Because I thought, I kind of already started telling people the 24th, and now September 21st, I'm gonna go. I'd like to somehow reserve a date.
Do you have anything concrete for those dates? Any plans made or any reservations made?
But I wanna start moving forward on it, if I didn't wait until September.
Can't we just approve this and then you'll say,
Yeah.
so guess what, their Area 4 block party is gonna be October 8th.
If you have the money to do
Move
it.
forward on it then, okay?
That's what I mean, and then,
Yeah.
because they just said, we're gonna have our block party on September 17th.
Right.
We didn't approve it or vote for it, we just gave them money.
I think it's probably wiser that way, in case it has to change even. Okay, so the motion is to approve up to $500 for Area 4. Do we have a second? Jamie. Okay. Do you have any no's? And any abstentions? Cool. Okay. Hey, now we're at neighborhood council board business. 13A. Discussion possible action to create a monthly town hall meeting. So I can speak towards this. It's actually supported in the bylaws, much to my surprise after reading it, as a community forum. It will be held on the first Tuesday of every month, and we would be changing up these meetings, and I think this is a great time to address this. Board member updates, liaison updates, representative updates would be moved to these town halls because they just took 2 hours of our time to get through before we could actually get to our own business. Award recognition certificates. What's up? Okay.
I think one of our members has a new one.
I think, yeah, I actually have to go.
That's fine.
Okay, I just couldn't accept today to do this one, so I had already.
I see you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Somewhere else
Thank
at
you.
9.
Thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Gonna read all this.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Bye-bye.
We're waiting. We have your contact info and everything, correct?
There's an email.
Yes, Mel, can you send out the email and it was J-A-Z-M-I-N. Yes.
Hey, Brian, I just want to be sure you make one of these.
Yes.
We never.
Remind me. How many files?
Oh, that's totally right there.
Okay. Alright, so these town halls, these were first identified during our board retreat as a way to have a active community involvement, discuss timely items happening in our community. We would award recognition certificates if they're approved later on to members of Glassell Park who do exceptional service. We would establish a monthly schedule of topics. Brian Frobisher would work with the area reps to create a topic of their choice. The idea is that every board member has the opportunity to throw a town hall on the topic of their own choice, as long as it relates to Glassell Park. That way you can have the opportunity to call in experts and have speakers come in, as well as pretty much experts and speakers and any other resources that you'd like to come in. And you get the chance to own your own town hall. So the discussion about action to create this monthly town hall meeting.
So one person kind of preside, but others give the updates. They show up.
It would be a board meeting, and we would have 1 to 2 topics that would last an hour to an hour and a half. And then what would happen is we would adjourn, and then the members of the community can speak with their individual area reps, where we could say, if you live in area 4 in this area, this is your area rep that you can meet with. It's more seen as a way to engage the community in a less formal manner than what we do right now. Jamie.
Something I noticed isn't written here. I think this is still part of the plan. Official comment, like all the
Yes.
CD reps would be there, and then also absences don't count toward your absences.
Correct. So we will have 1 board meeting a month, and this is the official one, where absences count, it counts against you. But since we're going to have a second town hall, it's strongly encouraged that you show up, but if you can't make it, not gonna count against you. Molly?
I would suggest extracting 13 IB award recognition certificates from this, and maybe sending that to the outreach committee or the public arts committee to find a local artist, have them design, and then bring that back. But I would I'd move to approve 13A.
I guess I should clarify, that's when they'll be awarded.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I move to approve 13A and all of the subsequent items below.
Good, do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Jamie, okay. Do we have any no's? Chris, do we have any abstentions? Okay. All right. Yep, go ahead. All right. Next one, we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. Discussion possible action to create area block parties. The member at large, Brian Frobisher, will work with the area representatives to create the schedule of events. We pretty much discussed block parties over and over again.
Move to approve.
And do we have a second?
Second.
13B?
All right, do we have any no's? Any abstentions?
You voted no.
Who did?
Brian.
Brian voted no? Okay. All right. Next one. So this is in the supporting documents towards the back. It starts on page 42. This is a motion resolution to adopt the bylaws committee's recommendations regarding amendments, modifications, revisions to the current standing rules and bylaws. So this is pretty important here.
I approve.
You see there's the red line and a clean version afterwards. Most, if not all of this, is modifying the language to match the bylaws. there's been a lot of error in interpretation on our standing rules and bylaws over the past decade that has left a lot of room for arguing and confusion. And that's just, yeah. So, we have the amendments to the standing rules. Present. Molly,
I move to approve 13C, amendments and modifications to standing rules and amendments and modification to bylaws.
there,
Second.
bylaws are.
Bylaws.
We're not doing them this time. We're not doing them? Okay,
There are none.
so 13CI, I move to approve.
Great.
I second.
Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Cool, alright.
That was unanimous.
Unanimous. Alright. Board review of all standing and ad hoc committees. Dissolve and or repopulate except self-nominations. So if you remember, this was on the last agenda to dissolve committees. However, the language in the last agenda was a little confusing. It wasn't there, even though the board had the opportunity in July to review their committees and take action. The agenda on the language was vague enough that we weren't able to do that. So it's back again, now that the standing rules have passed. The board has the power to review all committees. This is great because we don't know who's on these committees. So, to dissolve and or repopulate and then accept self-nominations for these committees. Let's go down the list. For DI1. Yes?
We're dissolving them all right now and then reforming them, or just asking if we want to.
Both.
We
So,
don't even need to dissolve.
Cool.
What'd you say, Mark?
I said there aren't enough people here to populate committees.
Yeah.
So what can happen is, if we dissolve committees, then it's the responsibility of the chair to appoint an interim chair. And then until the meeting meets, the interim chair's only responsibility is to call the meeting and set the agenda. The first action item on that agenda should be to form the committee and seat the officers. So if that's the case, then what we can do is dissolve the committees, appoint the chairs, and then put the word out that the committees have been dissolved, come to the meetings. Go ahead.
Excuse me, my name's Jared Johnson, I'm on the Ed Lib committee at the moment, it's in flux, I guess. But I will not be able to attend next week's meeting, so I wanted to, since the agenda says you will accept self-nominations, I wanted to self-nominate now.
Great, thank you. Okay. So would anyone like to make a motion and package all of these up?
I would like to move that we dissolve our committees, repopulate them tonight, and also appoint interim chairs to accept additional nominations at the next committee meeting.
Fantastic. Do we have a second?
Let me just, so for the people who did attend tonight with the intention of asking to be added to the committee, will they be able to under the way that you were putting your motion forward?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, okay, just making sure.
And as a point of clarification, committee should have a standing item on their agenda if there's room on the committee to accept self-nominations
I was just
on
thinking
an
of
ongoing basis.
specifically Jared, who won't be here next time, and I would hate for him to have.
I think that my motion addressed that.
Correct. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Laura seconds. Okay. Do we have any no's? Do we have any abstentions? Okay, so now.
And
Okay,
that's just 13DI,
correct.
no, and,
And all the way up there. So,
okay, and interim chair for 2, okay.
correct. And Jared is self-nominated to be on the EDLU committee. And that-
Can we just start at the top? Yeah, we have to.
Absolutely. For self-nominations, would anybody like to join the Budget and Finance Committee? I'm going to appoint Marge as the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Great.
Interim, please. Second, bylaws.
I'm sorry, I just wanted, is there a budget and finance committee that's operating now?
It just got dissolved if it did.
And then I believe our standing rules still say that we need to have a minimum of 3 people
When the committee meets, correct?
when the committee meets. So that
So-
isn't necessary now.
If I set a meeting date, who am I inviting?
Your best friends.
Yeah. Good point.
I mean, it just seems whatever the opposite of inclusionary is.
Right.
I suppose I could post it on Facebook and our webpage
Can we,
and,
we can
and,
do an email blast?
and reach out that way.
Absolutely. I think we should do an open call for all committees.
Yeah, let's make one message we send out for all the committees, so they're not getting like, 9 emails.
Historically, the Budget and Finance Committee
Only
has
once a
met
year.
irregularly. It's really hard to populate. I think that the Bylaws Committee may want to address this even being a standing committee. I don't know if it's a done requirement or not. But I think that the neighborhood council's way of doing business doesn't necessarily work alongside having a committee. Some neighborhood councils do work that way. Anything that goes from one committee has to go through the budget committee and then it goes to the board. Our neighborhood council has not worked that way. And so maybe we need to just address that because it seems like this is the third meeting this has come up and nobody wants to join this committee. So maybe we need to address that.
It could be an ad hoc committee if we change the bylaws. So that, maybe in March.
Well, in our bylaws, it doesn't state that we need to have a budget committee at all.
Right.
There's no rule to have this committee, and if it meets irregularly, we don't know who's on it, and we have no real reason to have it, we can dissolve it and not repopulate.
And it could be that there are some elements of this committee that are a requirement of just the department, of neighborhood empowerment, and so if that's the case, maybe what you can do is extract whatever those specific responsibilities are, for example, forming the budget, and include that in the executive committee or assign it to a specific board member or the treasurer, and that way it sort of answers that question and we're not sitting here 2 years from now trying to repopulate this committee again.
Great. Jamie?
I was just gonna say, let me make a motion to dissolve it and not populate it at this time, and if we need it in the future, we can bring it into existence then.
We already dissolved it.
Right, but what we voted to approve was to dissolve and repopulate everyone, so now this one has to be to dissolve without repopulating as a separate, different thing.
Okay. So, do you have a second on that?
Well, not necessarily, if March doesn't accept an interim chair and nobody does, then it's a more of a committee.
That's true.
We wanna do it that way.
Sure.
Great, then I don't accept.
Okay. So, Budget and Finance has no chair. Nobody speaking for it. Moving on.
Wait, so no chair, no one speaking for it, it doesn't exist?
It's dissolved.
It dissolved and didn't reappear.
That's disintegrated.
Alright, adios, budget and finance.
Okay. Oh boy. Next up, bylaws. I have spoken with Marie, our vice chair, on this. I'd like to appoint Marie as our chair, or interim chair of the bylaws committee.
Is she accepting? Are you accepting her?
Yes, well, it's just an appointment. Next up,
Oh wait, I'd like to self-nominate to join the committee.
great. Anybody else?
Yes.
Helene, okay.
Room for sure.
Ryan,
Marge.
I would also. One, two, three, four, five, six. Anybody else like to join the bylaws committee?
It's fun.
Okay. EDLU. We have Jared, who's self-nominated. Jared, you're on. I would like to appoint Marge as the interim chair of EDLU. Interim chair.
Sure.
Do we have anyone else who'd like to join EDLU? Patrick. Great.
Patrick, is that you?
Yeah.
Great.
Patrick. Molly. That's up to you.
Okay, have we populated it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is that 8?
Wait, no, I had to do twice.
We had Jared, Marge,
Oh, Jared.
Jamie, Laura, Aline, Patrick, and myself. And Molly.
That's mine, right?
Okay. Great. Anybody else? Next up, grants and funding. Anybody interested in being the interim chair on this? Cool. I'm going to appoint myself as interim chair on this one. It's kind of important. Would anyone like to join it? Thanks, Chris. Anybody else? Okay. National Night Out. We can dissolve this committee entirely. It's a great success.
Reform it.
Correct. Neighborhood Watch was an ad hoc committee we created at the last meeting. Molly, you're the chair of that one.
Me?
You were the chair of that one.
No, Patrick was. Patrick.
Oh. Apologies. Patrick, would you like to continue the Neighborhood Watch committee?
Yeah. Start with the neighborhood watch.
Start it?
Yeah,
Alright.
okay.
There you go. And you are the appointed interim chair. Would anybody like to join the Neighborhood Watch Committee? I'll join it.
Okay.
I want to watch the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Is it essentially to form neighborhood watches or?
We need to review what are the active ones in Westland Park, we need to get new signage, they are active, and I only have to get the phone for that, so I'll join them. And I think we can help organize meetings in the various areas.
Neighborhood walks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not John.
Alright, do you have anybody else?
Bike rides and bikes.
Okay. Outreach. I would like to appoint Sandy once again as the interim chair.
Intern again. I'm from intern to chair.
We're playing musical chairs, literally. Well, I would like to join as well. Do we have any other self-nominations? Chris? Billy? And Jamie?
Which one's that?
This is outreach.
I can deal with that.
Okay.
So that's Sandy, Ben, Chris, Billy, Jamie, Brian. Anybody else?
You know what? Don't do
No?
that. No.
Sandy, Ben, Chris, Billy, Jamie.
Okay. Public arts.
What does that do?
They did the boxes, I can't think of the junction.
Utility boxes.
Utility boxes.
And they did the big draw event for Earth Day.
And they want to do certificates.
And they want to do art in the media, because that's one of the next things is to get.
So, Crystal reached out to me, she said she'd like to continue this, but they haven't met since January.
But since they've been dissolved, it's a fresh calendar.
It's a fresh calendar, so I'd like to appoint Crystal as the interim chair for public arts. She continued, she expressed that she wants to continue it. We need new people.
I slightly question that.
She was on the board last year, but she moved out of the area. So she lives now outside of Glassell Park. She has a Saturday event every month, I think, over at the Verdugo Bar.
That's right.
But when we last dissolved this committee, Marcy Rhodes stepped up to chair it.
Yeah, that's true.
If we, she tried to call a meeting, but it was, Crystal tried to call a meeting and got canceled.
In this case, then with all that, if they haven't met in 8 months, going on 9, they can't call a meeting, I say we dissolve the committee, and if there becomes a need for it, they'll come up.
Can I just throw out there that Marcy did touch base with me about, she wanted to know how do I go about doing it, because she's never done it before.
Sure.
So she seemed interested in actually doing it, and I'd like to join the committee.
That would be 2, 3.
Can I just speak to
So this is such a
It's
great,
just us.
it's such a great committee, like, I really feel like it needs to meet, because at one point it was our strongest committee and doing really great work. Unfortunately, Crystal moved and she was the fearless leader of this committee. It'd be really great to find somebody who's as ferociously, you know, like, so empowered to like do artwork in our community. Like, she lived, breathed, and ate
Yeah, it's all
art.
about
It was,
her.
she was amazing. So it'd be really great to find somebody who was as passionate about public arts, because there's such a great opportunity in Glassell Park.
How does this differ from the outreach committee?
Outreach, there is definitely overlap, and we would actually meet, they would meet first, and we would meet right after them, and so there was the opportunity to discuss things with one another, but they would take on very specific projects, like we are going to do, find the artists for the utility boxes, we are going to work with outreach to put on the big draw event. And then the other thing, like Marge mentioned, we've actually sent a letter in the past requesting to start exploring the opportunity of putting art in our medians, which has never been followed up on, but it's such a great opportunity for our neighborhood council to have either structures or artistic pieces similar to like West Hollywood. And, you know, I think there's a lot of missed opportunities because this committee isn't meeting.
And I think that just due to the fact that we didn't do any outreach about repopulating the committees, we had 9 people on that committee. It wasn't like it was hard to get people. We had 9 people and people who just showed up to talk at those meetings and bring plans, and I think, you know, that it was a very active committee until Crystal got hit with being evicted and having to find a new place to live, and then not being able to get here regularly. So my feeling is that if you appoint Crystal even as interim chair, she will get a meeting called. And the thing is, also, she called a meeting when the Public Arts Committee usually met, but she didn't know that that's when Outreach or WIT decided that that's where they were gonna meet. So there was a conflict, and so but Crystal didn't know that because it was when Public Arts ordinarily met. So I think if we just ask her, please coordinate with maybe Laura, who will know when the committees are meeting, or Jamie, because you're posting the agendas, then we can avoid conflict.
Okay, well,
So Crystal's a friend of mine, but I do wanna just point, if she's not a stakeholder anymore, does that present a problem?
Well, Margaret Arnold is not a stakeholder in Glassell Park, but she's the editor of that Neela Art magazine newsletter.
It's not neighborhood council though.
She was
You
the
don't have to
reporter
be a-
for the committee.
You don't have to be a resident to be on the committee.
No.
That's
No,
open
you don't.
to general
Yeah, well, if she wants to,
But didn't we just put in the bylaws that
She
the
resigned from the neighborhood council saying she was not a stakeholder. She
About-
would have-
chair having to be a coordinator?
I
Was that
received
just
an email
EDLU?
saying
exactly, that's just,
something, I moved out of the area.
She never resigned.
Well, part of the revisions on the committee's thing is that we struck the requirement that it had to be stakeholder.
Sorry, it does or doesn't?
So we do not need to be.
well, it's actually close. 17A, the standing rules is a committee seat is considered abandoned if the incumbent is no longer a stakeholder in Glassell Park. So,
But define stakeholder.
Yeah, you have to look into our bylaws, if she claims that she's a member of a group or an organization, she hosts a monthly event at Verdugo Bar, so.
Or drinks coffee?
Does she consider herself a stakeholder?
I honestly have no problem with it, and I believe you guys that public arts is valid. My only concern is that it hasn't met in 8 months, and we are struggling to get people together. That said, we're dissolving and repopulating, so let's give it another shot. If they don't meet, they don't meet. We approve tonight that the board can take action and review any committee at any time. If it doesn't meet, let's dissolve it, but let's give it a shot. So I'll appoint Crystal as the interim chair, and we'll put out a lot of word that we dissolve the committees tonight, get everybody in. Would anyone else like to join?
Yes.
Great. And anybody else?
Can we appoint Marcy in her absence, since she clearly expressed an interest?
I appointed Crystal.
No, but like appoint her to the committee.
No, they have to self-nominate. I can only appoint the chair. Okay, Last one
That
up.
doesn't mean she can't show up at the meeting.
That's true.
Next one up is WIT. I'd like to appoint Jamie as the fearless WIT leader. Would anybody like to join the committee? Sandy? Yeah, so it's also me. That was a double action.
Me.
Laura. Anyone else want to join WIT? Okay. Alright. I'm shooting for 9:55. Let's do this. Discussion possible action to create an ad hoc committee to build a GPNC manual. Really quick. Coming into the board, we're all really confused about what we're doing. A lot of this procedure, setting agendas, being the secretary, the treasurer. There's a lot of what are we doing? What is the responsibility of area reps? And sure, it's laid out in the bylaws, but what does it actually mean? Who do you call when you have a question? What do you do? Yada, yada, yada. The big thing is if we build a GPNC manual with what we know, and the manual will be literally the book on it with a flow chart, visual way of doing it, as well as the phone numbers for who to call, what to do when setting an agenda, what to do when holding a block party, etc., etc. It'll be a living document that we continuously change and update, but the ad hoc committee would be responsible for putting it together. Cool?
I make a motion
What's your motion?
to create an ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
Per item 13.
I make a motion for item 13E to create an ad hoc committee to build a GPNC manual.
Great. And do we have a second for that?
I say.
Chris, beautiful. Okay, any no's? Any abstentions? Cool, the committee exists. I'm going to nominate myself as the interim chair of the ad hoc committee to build a manual. Would anyone like to join? Sandy, Laura.
You already know so much about the protocol stuff, you might as well take it. But you will do, because you'll be
Okay.
developing that protocol.
Ad hoc committees are best when they go swiftly and are a tight group.
If we can just, if you want to show up to a meeting, you don't have to be on the board, just need some knowledge.
I'll be glad to show up to some of the meetings and say stuff about WIT. And then again, if you guys, if I don't even need to. You guys are the other people who are on WIT, so.
Anyone else? Cool. Okay. Discussion possible action to create Glassell Park recognition certificates. Spoke briefly about this before. This was identified at the board retreat to show a way of recognizing people in the community who are doing great things. Those great things are up to interpretation by the outreach committee, who will make recommendations to the board. For example, the first ones we can do are all our fantastic volunteers for National Night Out that had nothing to do with GPNC. Sandy's husband was on the grill for 3 hours plus that night. So was Marie's mother, etc., etc.
I make a motion
Yep.
to create Glassell Park recognition certificates and task the public works committee with creation and design.
Cool.
Is that cool? Can I do that?
Yeah, you did 13 or whatever the number is. F1.
F13F1.
You want to go down for 2 as well.
I through triple I. Task outreach committee with handling of recognition certificates, accept recommendations of possible recipients, board votes to award recipients.
Great. Do we have a second? Molly seconds. Do you have any no's? Any abstentions? Cool. Outreach committee will handle the certificates. Public Arts will be in charge of creating it. G. Discussion possible action to approve letters of request. I believe this is in the scoring documents?
Yes, page 53.
Page 53. Okay. First one up is suggesting a letter asking city council members to consider a citywide polystyrene ban. Long story short, a whole bunch of places are banning it in California, such as Santa Monica, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Pasadena, among us, as well as San Francisco. It's toxic, birds eat it, it's just bad news, and California is leading the way on banning it. So we'd like to write a letter suggesting that Los Angeles officially adopts this. Cool? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, to send this letter.
I'll second. Great. Yep, I got you. I know I'm going.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any no's? Any abstentions? Cool. Next letter is suggest letter asking LA County supervisors to not adopt a plan to allow property owners to haul in drinking water where no other source is available. That's on 54.
I couldn't quite understand that, what does that mean?
There are developers in, right now, mostly Lancaster, Antelope Valley, where there's no groundwater, there are no wells, and there's no system for delivering water. And they're talking about 47,677 parcels, which would be over 3,000 single-family homes, where they would totally be dependent on hauled-in water that they do not necessarily have access to. As in severe droughts, it's where does that water come from? They will be completely and totally dependent on being able to buy water without being able to, I mean, they literally can die of thirst out there because they can't get water. So it just makes sense, it seems irresponsible to build a house where there isn't any potable water.
Second.
I'm the chair, this is just us. I'm the chair, I have no idea if I can make motions or not, but I personally don't like the grammar or some of the spelling in this. Is it possible to approve it with the addition that
That's why it's a draft.
Okay, yeah, okay, great, we approve the idea of it, but rewrite it a bit to make it more coherent.
What are your suggestions?
I can rewrite it, it's got my name on it.
So it's just for grammar and syntax, not necessarily content, correct?
Correct, the idea stays the same.
Did this letter come from a committee or a board member? Okay.
I mean, we talked about it at the executive committee meeting, we discussed it, and I said I would draft it.
Okay.
I don't think I can make a motion myself now.
So can we just start voting?
Well, I made the motion, you second, and further discussion asked that we make changes.
That's the motion on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, the motion is to approve the letter, so I will accept the friendly amendment, absolutely, if you want to make changes.
Great, okay. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Cool, fast. Alright, H, we're doing it. Discussion possible action to require all committees, excluding the executive committee, to submit a brief statement reporting their activities. So, fun fact, since we just dissolved all our standing committees and are starting fresh, what I'd like to do, and speaking with Marie, this is kind of our item on here, even if the committee doesn't show up physically to talk to us about what they did, we're asking for a brief statement, like maybe a 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. Did you meet? What did you discuss? What do you have? That's about it. Even if you didn't meet, say the committee did not meet this month. But the fact that we don't know who's on the committees, whether they're meeting, who's calling these meetings, is slightly ridiculous that we don't have control of our own committees. So this is just a way of keeping in check and seeing the status of what's going on month to month.
So you're saying sent before the board, sent, so after they meet before the board meeting, they would.
Correct, so essentially with the other supporting documents.
That could be a way to establish request agenda item.
No, it's too late.
That
Not
would,
72 hours, but
that would go before the executive committee. This is just a report.
More of an update.
An update, exactly. A brief statement regarding their update. Yeah.
And just as a follow-up question to the dissolving of the committees and such, are you going to send out a notice to the current people who think they're currently chairs to let them know that they are not, in fact, the chairs?
Yes, we need to do a mass email to all stakeholders saying that committees are open. I will handle the sending of emails to current committees, letting them know that they're dissolved, and if they'd like to join, to show up at the next meeting scheduled, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Is this already part of the standing rules, or will it be added to the standing rules?
It is not in the standing rules.
Is there a place for it in the standing rules so that has a few more teeth?
Absolutely added.
So I would move to approve and also add it to our standing rules.
Would it be, I mean, being that we also kind of want to know who's on these committees, would it be
we be a little bit more specific in, like what we're asking people to submit in terms of like who attended, if there was a meeting, who attended it, or who the current committee members are, or something like that.
Ideally, what I'd like to do is work with our secretary, Laura, to draft a template and it's just fill in the blanks.
Got
I think that's a great point.
I would also like to amend this to say 96 hours.
Got it. 96. Go ahead, Sandy.
Quick, just clarification. The meetings on the computer are, I'm spacing now because it's so late.
Yeah.
In other words, like outreach, will it still be meeting at the same day and time as it's currently listed on the computer that currently happening right now?
Yes, so the only thing that we have to now factor in was the date of the town halls, which is the first Tuesday of every month now. The GPNC meets on the third Tuesday. The executive committee used to meet on the first, now meets on the second. As far as I know, there are no other conflicts, but since we just started fresh, it'd be a good time to review all that. Okay, yes.
And I don't have a date on this, but saying no later before the board meeting, or should we say 72 hours after they meet, post an update?
So the whole idea is that the supporting documents have to be together. So the 72 hours is like 3 days before I have to get a little packet of stuff together, which then goes
Right.
to.
What I'm saying is, I guess it doesn't overlap, should they report right after they meet?
I don't care whenever they do it, just as long as it's not.
As long as it gets to us before the meeting.
So you don't care if it just comes in
It's all
sporadic?
before the meeting is.
Yeah, just as long as it's.
Yeah, we can advise, like, hey, doable, it's still fresh.
Right, or my own thought is if there's an issue, I don't know if there really be any issues that you would know about it for, like they didn't meet, or, but I don't know if that's that big of a deal, so.
Okay.
At least you can check it off, like if you have,
They didn't meet, yeah.
Right,
if
exactly.
you have a checklist with like
Go
which
for it.
committees you have to.
Would anyone
Yeah.
think there'd be value in making that before the executive committee meeting? So that anything that happens at those meetings can be added to the agenda?
It's just a report. If they want to submit something to the executive agenda, they already have it. It's just for the board to be like, all right, the budget committee did not meet this month, next.
Originally it was a one sheet, and now I realize it's gotten shorter.
It has,
But I thought maybe, as a committee chair, I'm thinking, do I want to write 2 documents per month? One for the things I want presented to the board, and this other one, so I'm probably going to write my document so that it serves us both. And how much easier would it be for all of us if we just all did it that way? So I was just throwing the idea out there.
It sounds like this will basically be like a Google form or something.
Yeah.
You're literally just.
fill in the blanks. It's just gonna be a template.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the motion on the floor. We had the motion on the floor to approve it with 96 hours. Just got this slide that likes me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
makes
likes
all of us.
Yeah. Alright, do we have a second for that?
Wait, did you say 72?
96.
Okay, I was going to say she changes.
And to change, and put it in standing rules.
And to put it in the stand list, correct? Do we have a second for that?
Sure, yes.
Alright, any no's? Any abstentions? Cool, we got through our board business. I can see the light. Alright. CIS statements, these are important. Review, discussion, possible action to approve or disapprove the following motions, resolutions. And just want to reiterate, from learning along with all of you, this is pretty much, along with land use, our biggest purpose as a neighborhood council, to chime in on something, just to say as a unified front. So even though it's late, we have to do this. Where in the supporting documents are 55, thank you. Oh, thank you.
It's just the links you told me not to.
Great, okay, so I can speak to these briefly. The first one, motion 15002, asking the city to oppose SB 1069 that replace the term second unit with accessory dwelling unit and differs from the state existing second dwelling unit law and includes language that undermines local land use control. As I understand it, Los Angeles is a bit stricter in its language. The California state is more lax. However, the reason it's stricter in Los Angeles is because we are very different than the rest of the state. We have a very dense urban population, and by changing it to the wording of the state, accessory dwelling unit, it opens up a lot of room for crowding in our areas where you can have a lot more people and a lot less space, and it doesn't really work for Los Angeles. That's as I understand it. If you guys want to read up on it, there's links on 55, the full text is very lengthy. Yeah, just click on the paper.
I think also it allows them to not deal with parking. Also within a half mile of public transportation. That already started out, so that's another issue too, as far as crowding more cars.
Yeah, and it also has some differences with size, what's allowed.
Is that like recommendation? Is this a like recommendation?
No.
This is just a motion that came up on the city clerk's office.
Anyone like to make a motion on this?
So by supporting this, we're opposing it.
We're asking the.
We're asking, right, it's CIS opposing it.
Correct.
Yes.
So just for clarification,
We're writing a letter that we propose it. It's pretty much
It's
just.
actually not a letter, it's a
filling,
form,
just
you just
filling
fill in a
form.
paragraph.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve that we oppose? Little double negative.
Sure, yes.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion? Okay. Okay, do we have any no's? And any abstent, one no?
I'll abstain.
And an abstention. And Brian votes yes. Okay, cool. Next one, 02, similar resolution asking the city to oppose AB 2299. It would require local agencies to provide an ordinance for the creation of second dwelling units in single-family and multifamily residential zones, whereas existing law gives local governments authority to enact a second dwelling ordinance when needed. Marge, I think you know a little bit more about this one than I do.
What I know about this is that currently Los Angeles has a second dwelling unit ordinance that is a standing law. It's an ordinance that we all adhere to. And the assembly bill would basically substitute state law for the ordinance that we have and suggest that we enact an ordinance when needed. So we already have an ordinance, and they're suggesting that we drop our ordinance in favor of the state ordinances and ours are stricter.
So it's similar to the last one, changing to the state's language, which is more lax than the Los Angeles language. So essentially the same idea.
Yeah, it's this one, the first one changes language that creates a more lax law, and this one suggests that we drop the ordinance that exists and only use it when necessary, but there's from what I read here, it was more about, sorry, I'm blurry as well. It's more about getting it on the books again, that it's more likely that we won't have an ordinance, basically.
Okay.
That was my take.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion on this one, if there's no more discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we send to CIS opposing, asking the city to oppose AB 2299.
Great. And does anyone want to second that?
I'll second that.
Ryan seconds. Okay. Is there any no's? Any abstentions? One abstention. Okay. Next is a motion to the council asking 1, approval to instruct Dunn to report on improving the voting environment for future neighborhood council elections, and 2, instruct Dunn to work with the city attorney to develop, document, and implement an election challenge process. So I spoke with Thomas about this one because it ties into the one right below it, which is asking Dunn to cease online voting. And this essentially comes from Studio City, who had a bad time with their online elections. However, to my knowledge, online elections had a whopping approval rate in the rest of the city. Studio City did not have a good time for one reason or another. And they're asking that we change and do an election challenge process, et cetera, but it's doesn't actually put forth any language on what they want to do. It's very like, we need to do something, let's do something kind of language.
I may need to recuse myself.
Sure.
So.
That is essentially my take on it.
Whatever.
One thing interesting about Studio City was I think it's one of those places where I remember there was a thing in the LA Times and the vote was something like 12 to 25 or something. I mean, the voting was, I don't know what happened there online, if it didn't work at all maybe, but they had like less than 50 people voting for things. It was kind of strange.
Why do we want to cease online voting if the rest of the city was fine?
Exactly.
Yeah, basing it on Studio City's weird thing going on there. I mean,
Oh, I
some of
see.
these places have nobody running that's opposed, so they don't get any turnout. Like, places like Tarzana, I think 5 people. I mean, they were literally a place where like 15 people voted because it was just a board and no one was running.
So can I move to oppose this?
Great.
Well, the thing is, what we've written here is just describing what the motion is that's before the city council. And it's up to us to say we support it or we oppose it. And both of these motions, I believe, were put forth by the council member who represents Studio City. So if we say, no, we don't think any of this needs to happen, then that's what we put on our statement. It's totally up to us.
Right.
I kind of like 3 and I don't like 4.
We're not totally on for it. Approval to instruct on to report on improving the voting environment for future neighborhood council elections. That, again, this is my interpretation. What does that mean? How do you improve this voting environment? Go ahead.
Well, I think the challenge process seems legitimate, like something that could be better if it's not specifically asked for, I guess. Or, well, it says develop document and implement challenge process. That I agree with. Again, improving the voting environment for future neighborhood council elections, that could be anything.
We can make a motion to approve one, not the other. Support one, not the other.
That's, oh, you mean half of 1, half of 3?
We support developing, documenting, and implementing election challenge process.
I mean, that part I would support.
What's weird is there is an election challenge process.
That's the thing.
Oh, well then.
You know, it's like,
So why are we even responding?
I
can't
challenged the
understand
election
city council's
4 years
say
ago,
it.
I think.
Jay?
Can I just make a motion to approve number 14.3? A3, 14A3?
To approve it, that we support it?
Yeah.
Do we support the motion?
I realize that it's a little bit vague, but that means it also isn't gonna hurt anything to say, make it better, because there were some things that went wrong in our neighborhood with online voting too. But for instance, there was somebody with the little iPad, and she was telling somebody, what you're doing right now is illegal, you need to stop and you need to leave, and that person did not do that. And it was, it was a little unpleasant for some of the people who were like, oh my God, why is that?
Again, though, the thing is that this is saying, we need to make things better, but that's not how you make a law. You gotta say what you're gonna do.
Well, but obviously,
Well,
if somebody
it's
put this,
asking for
if somebody's putting this
Asking for
before
law.
city council, the people who wrote it obviously know how to write something for city council. I'm okay with supporting the concepts. I mean,
So we have a motion to approve this,
just the first one.
just the first, the third 3.
3.
Do we have a second for that, or any other discussion?
I second it.
Okay.
So a motion to approve, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any no's?
You're also.
You got
Mark, is Chris, your hand up?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Patrick's hand is up.
Patrick, your hand is up. Okay, this doesn't pass.
Okay, well, do we have any?
Do we see any abstentions?
Okay, so it doesn't
So-
pass.
Supporting the motion doesn't pass.
Correct.
So now, do we discuss the possibility of saying, we don't think this motion should be considered by the city council? I mean,
We can.
I mean, I'm just asking what we think. I mean, the problem is we're not reading the motion, the actual
Right.
motion isn't here, so it's hard to know what,
We just do nothing.
yeah, we can just not
Yeah, I would not
vote.
vote. Those are-
The thing
Yeah,
is,
this one.
the fact is, this is about Dunn, and that's the group that oversees us, so for us to not weigh in on it seems a little, but I think it's important enough that we should all have read it. So if we don't have the details and the specifics of this motion, then we probably should just not vote.
I agree with that. Okay. Sure. Thank you. All right, next one.
Are you leaving the
Next up is for motion to instruct Dunn to cease online voting until Dunn completes a report regarding the experience of online voting and actions Dunn plans to implement. And 2, the council takes further action to approve online voting under conditions to be determined by City Council. Again, this comes from Studio City. My interpretation, after speaking with Thomas as well, is that there already is a report on improving the voting environment. The next elections take place in a year and a half. This is the first time doing online elections. They're going to improve as it goes along. The language is very vague, doesn't actually ask for anything. It says the council takes further action to approve online voting under conditions to be determined and complete the report, which has already been done. Jamie.
I'd like to make a motion that we do not support this.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I think that we should, I agree, and I think that in our statement as to why, we should say that online voting was extremely helpful and good in our district, and that it would be a big, real shame to jeopardize the possibility of online voting by having it conditions determined by City Council, which could take years.
Yeah.
And I accept the amendment.
I think we should oppose it and tell them that's why,
Strong.
because it worked extremely well for us. And yes, it can be improved, but we don't think it needs the City Council's actions. It should just be internal with Dunn, that they learned something, we all learned something, and next time it'll be better. So that's my feeling, is that we should not support this motion. I mean, we should.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
Would
So
you like to
I
make a second?
accept.
Yes, and I second that.
Okay. Any no's? Any abstentions? Beautiful. All right.
I think Melanie can come in now. We're finished with elections. Molly.
Molly!
So we're not supporting.
All right, motion, I'm glad to hear this. Ordinance to transfer administration of the neighborhood council funding program from Dunn to the city clerk and establish joint administration of the neighborhood empowerment trust fund between Dunn and the city clerk. I can also speak towards this one. This is giving the city clerk, or actually I should say, it's allowing the neighborhood empowerment to have more resources. They're going to have the resources of the city clerk as well as Dunn. More people to handle stuff specific. It's mainly pertaining to funding, which they had a whole bunch of problems with Union Bank. The assets were frozen, can't access, it's happening all across, and Dunn is just understaffed. So by partnering and moving it to the city clerk, Dunn keeps all of their people, they add on the city clerk people, it is essentially a better process.
And they spoke to us about that at Budget Day. So my opinion of it was that it sounded like a great idea. What did you think, Sandy?
Perfect. Anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to support that.
I'll second.
Beautiful. You got it? Yep. Okay, any no's? Any abstentions? Cool. All right, next one is a motion that asks the city council to request the city attorney to prepare and present an ordinance that will eliminate loopholes that allow applicants to file for subdivision conversions of rent-stabilized ordinance units to condos, and thereafter develop the property for a different use in order to circumvent payment of relocation assistance. And 2, Housing and Community Investment Department to report on state laws that require the city to exempt property owners of RSO units that convert to condos to pay relocation assistance. This is just closing a loophole that allows people to do things they shouldn't.
That screws over people who need rent control.
Right.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to support this.
Second. Any discussion? Any no's? Any abstentions? Great. All right, last one of the CISs. Report from City Planning to City Clerk regarding a code amendment repealing sections of LA Municipal Code to comply with state law on second dwelling units and grandfathering second dwelling units permitted since June 23rd, 2003. This was up at our last board meeting, it was tabled, and now it's back again. Mark, would you like to speak towards this one a little bit?
No,
Okay.
I submitted all this documentation and I read it, 2 months ago? So, you know, I don't really have anything to say about it. I think that, no, I can't.
Okay.
I mean, we can look this up, we can go to the city clerk's website and look at it, but it's, and it,
I got you.
Did we sort of address this with the first two items?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, it's a whole different assembly bill. This is 1866, the other one is 2297. And it's about grandfathering second dwelling units.
A lot of state laws, the question is, which is permanent since June 23rd. Because are they adding new ones, is making law apply supposed to? In the first year, they had letting people start using these other ones that are permanent. This is one permanent ones that they would be right. Just adding all these other ones that let people live there.
I guess my concern in just reading this is that we just voted to oppose allowing the language of the state in favor of the city language, but this one seems to contradict that. This would comply with state law, so we're sort of working against ourselves if we approved it.
Correct.
Right.
This is the result of the judge stating that our LA law was not compliant with state law.
I'll be honest,
So it's
this
about
one I'm
revising
hopefully here enough.
our ordinance to comply.
Right, although lots of cities have laws that don't comply with state law, like, we had a plastic bag ban, and it long before the state banned plastic bags, so you can.
Yeah, but the issue is the people in limbo, right? The people who are building the units and don't know.
Yeah.
They can't get the certificate of occupancy to hook up the utilities.
I'm not completely sure. I did know about it 2 months ago.
So, I mean, the logical result would be to repeal those sections so that it complies and
I don't think anybody would be stuck in limbo unless it was an unpermitted structure, in which case maybe something has already addressed that. But I think this is such a big issue, and since all of us seem to be unaware of the intricacies, that we should table it.
I agree.
I bet that it's gotta come to a vote before we get around to it.
that'll be the second time.
That's right.
Okay.
Is there a motion to table?
Or we can table it or just not move on it.
Just not move on.
You okay to not move on this?
Yes.
Great. Alright, so that gets to the CISs. Real quick, Brian, do you have a report from the city attorney?
Well, that was why that thing wasn't in there, but not really. I mean, I did get some information back on some bylaw stuff that'll come up, I guess, about extensions and also things we've already done, I guess, in approval. So, and it's also hard to get a hold of her, but she's kind of new to that job. And, she's being very careful what advice she gives out, which is good. I spoke to her on the phone and stuff, so I think it's a good thing, and I think we can get, like I sent that thing in that you supplied me with it. I had to give her a follow-up email to get the response out of her, but I think she's being cautious and not giving out false information, so it seems pretty good.
Cool.
What did she say about the abstentions?
Thomas sent some stuff, I can forward it. It's basically you can't do the one thing where you change the votes, but you can have an abstain mean yes or no.
You can only have it mean yes, or it can mean no. It can't be that abstentions go with the majority vote.
They didn't like that one, I don't think.
Okay. Billy, Public Works.
Public Works. Well, I'm not totally sure about my role in Public Works liaison. I went and signed up on the website, I get emails, but the main Public Works thing I think now is like the Clean Streets Challenge.
Yes.
Which I think we're aware of it. I think some of us are going to do the training. I think I'm going to do it next week. Mark is doing it. You're doing it.
Good try.
Try to do. I did talk to some in the union, the HOA about getting involved in this, so I think they'll, you have to have a partner between neighborhood council and a couple of associations. I think I can get them on board with something if we wanna do, once we come up with a challenge, if we wanna have that, be one of the associations that sponsors it with us. So, definitely something I'm interested in pursuing, so I'm gonna do the workshop next week, I think. And then, I'm not sure how we proceed as far as developing something together on that. Something we take on the committees, like the outreach, or do we bring it back to the board, but.
Actually, I got you covered on this one. So I'm gonna skip to 16, we'll come right back. We're gonna move to new business. This is also something I had written down that I wanted to address, the Clean Streets LA Challenge. This is so cool. It's literally a competition between neighborhood councils and cooperating, I don't know the word, entities to clean the streets of their neighborhoods. And they are offering $25,000 in awards to neighborhood councils that can put forth plans on how to clean up their streets, and it's judged based on their creativity, how many people they can partner with, the resources present, and from there they will all allocate money and work with you directly to clean up the streets and do projects. Like they're literally bypassing the $37,000, and if we do a good job saying, look, this is what we want to do, this is how we're going to do it, they'll give us the money, and that's awesome. So I definitely think this would be amazing to take advantage of that. The stipulations are that you have to have a minimum of 3 partnering entities. I did write that one right there. So GPNC, GPIA would be great, and then we can Neil and add them all. Just get them, everybody involved. You also had to have members that attend training workshops, which you just touched on. There's 3 this week, happening every day after tonight. As well as more coming up, but they're only during August, so if anyone wants to attend, these trainings are at 6 p.m., they last 1 hour. They're changing locations, but we can send information, although they're been emailing everywhere. I could make a motion, correct? I'm gonna. I'd like to make a motion to form an ad hoc committee for Clean Streets LA to put together to support and work with our other committees, such as outreach, as well as the board, to partner with the various entities and get this moving.
Second.
Great. And any discussion on doing that? Cool. Any no's? Any abstentions? Great, we have another committee. As far as a chair, Billy, would you be interested in chairing it?
Sure.
Okay. And I'd like to nominate myself to join.
They'll be working with outreach as well.
We're gonna be working with everybody.
Oh. Are we gonna come back to 16 after we finish this?
Yes,
Okay.
I figured since we just touched on it. So Billy. Would anybody else like to join the Clean Streets? Us 3? Patrick? Anybody else? Great. So we have 4. Anybody else? Cool. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna skip back now to 15C. Chris, Animal Services.
No updates.
Cool. Make it fast. 15D. NC Sustainability Alliance. That's Jamie and Patrick.
Yeah, so I'll talk about, we did something called an open space circle where all the neighborhood councils were invited to come and talk about things. We had breakout sessions. One of the breakout sessions that, it was actually the one that I suggested, was about greener gardening and ending leaf blowers because they contribute a huge percentage of the particulate pollution that goes into our homes and into our lungs. And we have now formed a working group. It's not an official committee of the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance yet, but the plan is to start like getting stuff, like getting the AQMD to change their program to not give out leaf blowers at all, to change the law to exclude all leaf blowers, not just gas-powered blowers. What the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance would like to do is to draft a letter that says, we, the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, with the support of, X number of neighborhood councils, all want, and we're gonna send it to all the city council people, council members, that we get the signatures for. So we want every neighborhood council to say, we are tired of the leaf blowers and we support this. And when we have them, hopefully we'll have all 96, there will start to be some enforcement. We think that if Save the Drop is so widely, everybody's heard of it, why can't we have Stop the Leaf Blowing and put some real emphasis on this? And our approach is going to be a health perspective because it's really affecting people with asthma. So.
Great, thank you. Okay, next up, length, that is myself. So really briefly, I didn't have time to print it out. It was a very interesting length meeting this August 6th that I attended. First off, the 2016 Congress of Neighborhoods is September 24th. I have a very vague understanding what this is, and my understanding of it is that it's extremely important to attend. I'm told it's awesome. The mayor is coming, he's going to be talking, as well as Olive Dunn and every neighborhood council. So this would probably be great to attend. I'll send out an email reminding everybody, but it would be awesome to attend. Again, it's September 24th, and it's a long day. 7:45 a.m. with breakfast to 4 p.m. Also coming up is Beyond Neighborhood Council. If anyone's interested in using neighborhood councils as a stepping stone for higher office or getting a job with the city, it's coming up on August 23rd at 6 p.m. At the Los Angeles Central Library. There's been a bajillion emails about that one. The big thing I want to talk about is traffic studies and speeding, because this was the mind blower to me. Long story short, the number of traffic citations has fallen 83% since 2010. There's been a 20% increase in traffic fatalities since 2010, and 80% of the streets in Los Angeles are unenforceable. The reasoning is because in 2009, the state changed the law saying that you can't reduce your mile per hour posted by 5 as it used to be. So the way, again, I learned this, you can't arbitrarily set speed limits. If it's going fast, you can't say this speed limit's now 25, we're gonna slow everyone down. Apparently can't do that. The only way to set a speed limit is by conducting a scientific study. And those studies take time, take money, and then after the scientific study comes in and says, we have found that 43 miles per hour is the speed at where safety is reached. What's then happened is, under the old law, it was rounded down, so it'd be 43 goes to 40, and then removed a further 5 miles per hour. So the posted speed limit, like we see everywhere, is 35 miles per hour. However, under new law, reducing it by that additional 5 miles per hour is no longer in the law. So what happens now is 43 miles per hour, rounded down to 40, 40 is the posted speed limit, instead of 35. The problem lies with people going, you're raising the speed limit, people are going to go faster. Not true. According to the scientific studies, people will go the same speed regardless of what the posted speed limit is, determined by their safety. So even if the speed limit says it's 90, people will often drive the same speed limit 100% of the time. So the fact that people are fighting that you're raising the speed limits, people are going to come speeding through my neighborhood, because that's something everyone is contentious about. Everyone hates speeders going through the neighborhoods. You have small children, you don't want your kids to get hit. You see the speed limit going up, you get upset. It's natural. The problem is it's not grounded in science. So they haven't been able to push these new traffic studies through because they get protested and fought. And as a result, police can no longer enforce the roads where this traffic study is invalid. So people are fighting against themselves because no longer can police ticket or enforce any kind of road violation on a street that doesn't have a traffic study. And
It has happened in the last 10 years.
correct, it expires after 10 years. And the problem is that they're expiring faster than they're being renewed. So some police are handing in their LiDAR detectors because they can't do anything with it. Even if they pull someone over, they can't do anything.
I don't want a map of the streets or speed.
What was the reason that the state law changed?
I'm not sure. It's more accurate. It is beneficial because it's more accurate to the correct speed.
As opposed to rounding down.
As opposed to rounding down, but the problem is that more often than not, it's going to change the speed limit up.
I read your write-up, and what I gleaned from that was a little different from what you said, so just want to make sure that I know which one it was.
Sure.
Are they deciding what is safe based on something, or are they just doing the speeds people actually drive, and they take an average of the speeds people actually drive, and then call that safe?
So what happens is a traffic study is conducted over the course of 3 months to 12 months. And what they do is they measure the speeds of every vehicle going down that road, regardless if they're speeding or a little old grandma going 4 miles an hour. And what they then do is average all of that information, all that data, and it's the 85th percentile as speeds. And that is the determined posted speed limit. Molly?
I find this extremely interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that this would be a fantastic town hall for the neighborhood council.
Agreed, 100%. In fact, the officer who was there and spoke, his name is Officer Troy Williams, has offered to come and give a presentation to Glassell Park for free. So would love to take advantage of that, especially for a town hall, because that's, again, this is relevant to everybody. And then the thing is that we can ask for a map of our enforceable streets and not, because that exists, we just have to ask for it. So what I propose, my own recommendation is, Lank has put forth the language, a letter to the city requesting that the Los Angeles City Council creates a council file to immediately fund speed surveys on streets identified by LAPD, LADOT, and the communities that need immediate attention for public safety. Again, as the neighborhood council, we can recommend, look at our streets where people are speeding. Then the second part is, the mayor combines Great Streets and Vision Zero Los Angeles programs so that the two programs can create mutual goals of safety and great streets. Essentially, what that means is that the mayor created something called Great Streets Los Angeles to improve the street quality, and Vision Zero is the overall plan of zero traffic fatalities by 2020 or 2025. Neither of which are really successful, so the thought is if you combine the two, it gives more money, more resources, et cetera, et cetera. I recommend that we copy and paste the language presented by Lank and send our letter of support for funding to get traffic surveys done so we can actually enforce our streets.
Do they say anything about the whole, like, street improvement 80-20?
No.
Okay, because that has a huge, I mean, that has a huge impact on traffic fatalities, because a lot of, well, there's a lot of morbidity related with LA traffic accidents because of the actual, like, infrastructure that their streets are crap.
Yeah,
Did you see the LA Times article that showed that our area was like the only area in the city that would drop the letter grade in recent years?
And it will never go up again because they won't ever fix it.
Because of concrete streets.
So, I'd like to make a motion.
Can we put some sort of
Yeah.
language in there about street, if you're gonna just change
Absolutely.
do a street, I mean, I feel like a street study has to also include the actual makeup of the street and not just like whether or not people are speeding on it, like if the street is not a safe street because there's giant potholes everywhere, like, it's not that much, it causes many problems, because people are like swerving to go through the potholes.
Right, and that's essentially what the Great Streets campaign is to improve that.
I know, but like the way that the LADOT, or the way that they work now is they operate on an 80-20 rule. They'll never come and fix our street because we're at such a low letter grade. So like great streets or not, like they're not actually coming to fix it.
So then, I make a motion to draft this letter and add an additional language. And I'll let you craft the additional language. That we would send off in support of the police, because that's who showed up and actually literally begged. The guy did this, saying, please, my officers can't do anything, they got their hands tied. And my heart went out to him.
What is the LANCC?
Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition. It's where all the neighborhood councils come and they get their speakers, topical speakers, essentially like a town hall we're gonna have.
Suspicious that this is such a bombshell, I haven't always talked about it. I'm just,
It's coming directly from the police, it's not like a media reporting thing.
it also sounds like an excuse for them not doing their jobs too. So, I want to look more into it.
So I made the motion to draft a letter mirroring the language presented with the additional language presented by Laura.
Is the language available?
Yes, it's in my link report that I have not printed out. And once again,
So it's emailed out.
yes.
Just a quick question, is this timely, does it need to happen now, or could it happen if we put together a town hall, could we then form a letter and put the letter before the board?
Do you know when the city budget discussion is happening?
Well, budget day just happened, so, I don't know.
This time around?
Yeah.
Then I guess it's not.
Okay, because I think that it'd be great to
have the language so that the community and the board could consider it fully. And then also provide them the opportunity to participate in what it should look like for Glassell Park.
Great. Okay.
But I think we should really have this soon, because I think it's awesome.
So let's draft the language, draft the letter, and invite them for our first town hall. I think that'd be a great opening event, so that we can get a lot of people in. Cool? Anyone like to second that?
Should we see if we can get like our, maybe Jimmy Gomez or Kevin De Leon or somebody from the state who can also say what's
That lady, Jimmy Gomez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephanie,
Absolutely.
or what's her name? Ben works in Kevin De Leon's office.
Do I have a second for this?
This is just a motion to draft the letter
With additional language,
with
correct?
additional language, but which we're not going to do anything with it.
We're gonna see the letter before it goes somewhere?
Well, are we gonna bring the letter to a town hall and talk to
Yeah.
them about it if it goes away?
Yeah, we're having a presentation on
Okay.
it. Any no's? Any abstentions? Cool, and that's my length report. Plan check. Nobody here to speak for that. Next. This is you, Laura, DWP MOU.
Was not able to attend.
Okay. HDWP Advocacy Committee, Heather or Billy?
Yeah, I attended last month, and just a couple of quick things, I'll try. Some things, I don't know if you know, DWP, Marcy Edwards stepped down, now there's a new, there's an interim COO. The main thing that's coming up is there's gonna be on the ballot reform issues, which in general, the advocacy committee is somewhat supported, saying that they're just generally better than what's going on, and part of the problem that they felt would cause all the problem with the billing systems with the fact that DWP has more restrictions on who they can hire. You have a lot more, you have to take a lot more from the civil service rules. They can't just hire out as much as other departments, which I think that would be somewhat changed. And also there's going to be there's about 24 different changes, which I won't go on all because I don't know them all by heart, but they're going to change the length of the time that board members can serve, I think from 5 years to 4 years, and they're going to give them more oversight. And that was the basic, big part of it. The other, so the idea was to give them more autonomy, more control. I don't know whether that'll work or not. Anyway, that's all I got. It's kind of long, but generally the advocacy committee came out. Jack Hutcherson said that they think that they're slightly better. It's a slightly better deal than what's going on now. So it's they weren't. They did less harm they're better than what's going on and don't do as much harm as everything else that's set on the table. So
Cool. That's all I got. Thanks. All right, lastly, neighborhood council budget, Sandy or Jamie?
So, okay, I'm gonna speak first, just kind of quickly give you guys an idea of the types of things that got talked about. So, for anyone who's not familiar with how the session worked that day, which I guess would be anybody who was, so all of you guys first. So at the beginning, for the vast majority of the day, we sat in a big room and a bunch of people talked, and we just listened. It was not interactive. Then we did breakout sessions, so it was our area and an adjacent area that included Los Feliz, Highland Park, some nearby stuff. And in that little breakout session, somebody was taking notes, and everybody was saying, these are the things we care about, and those are the things that will be discussed and pursued in the future. So I just thought I would give a little list of some of the things that stood out to me that got brought up, and I was really proud of our area for the things that came up. So we talked about public transit, that we should add more. We should do it before we grow the size of the city, and that we should have later hours. Putting solar panels on city buildings and as shade structures. We talked about homelessness at length, and luckily, for the most part, it didn't get into the blaming the homeless. The vast majority of people had nice things to say. They wanted to talk about bringing services to the homeless, water, etc. Somebody brought up that we should revisit the pot shop zoning. So Prop D, I guess, prevented you from putting a pot shop pretty much anywhere. So they all closed up and we lost tax revenue. And this is budget day, so we're trying to find ways to bring more money to the city. So that was something someone brought up. We talked about gentrification, planting more trees, having more permeable surfaces to, keep our rainwater in our aquifers. Leaf blowers were brought up there. Somebody brought up that we should start encouraging people to build greener with incentives for LEED projects. LEED is when you do an environmentally friendly building to this very specific set of standards for anybody who doesn't know. And they've had programs like this in lots of major cities like Chicago. And then people talked about improving pickups of trash and adding more public trash cans. So.
And they had a pie chart of the budget, and I think it was about 75% went to police, which is to keep obviously the city safe. And they wanted to increase the number of firemen or women that they want to hire more. So that was interesting little tidbit there for me. The other thing that stood out was, I believe it was the city controller's website, Ron Galperin. He has so much data, like you can log in, check the map out, you can see where the highest concentration of whatever is, and it'll show it on the map. So any kind of statistical information you guys want, it's there.
Great.
It's really great. So.
And it's not just for the city as a whole. You can look for stuff in your own neighborhood, and all the stuff that I guess that we send to Dunn. I think like you guys mentioned that. I don't know that I heard it at Budget Day. That stuff is searchable too.
Can you email that link?
Sure.
That'd be great.
It's Pleasure. What's it called? What's his
No,
website?
it's Ron Galperin's website.
Yeah, but it's called some.
City Controller, LAcontroller.org.
I will double check it. I'll double check it. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
town halls.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, does anybody have any more new business? 16, Patrick.
So I visited the bow tie parcel the other day.
Yeah, me
And
too.
there's this art exhibit called The Tie That Binds, the Near Future. And it's actually in Glassell Park. City Saturday, But
Yeah, they did.
I hadn't really heard about this, and I just went because Brian posted this ESET article. I'm like, I didn't even know Casitas went through, You go to that envelope below the railroad tracks and for that water, Fletcher. And I went there, it's amazing. They actually picked up the blueprint of one of these garden parcels, and I'm going to put it in my backyard. I'm drought tolerant. It's something that addresses the water conservation issue, and it's the biggest public art project in Glassell Park. It's part of this current LA biennial.
And I
We should have
think
done something more to publicize it to this
they
community.
definitely should have done more. I did it. I took a whole bunch of photos for the next issue of the GPIA News, but it'll be down by then.
I know, what is it ending?
It's ending like soon, this month, I think.
It's amazing, there's people there, it's a beautiful space to walk around, and they'll guide you through it, talk to you about it.
How long is it there?
I don't know.
I think it's only till-
maybe a couple
I thought
It's
days.
a garden?
It's a bunch of different gardens. I was there by myself, and it was hard to find. But when you're by yourself, with nobody showing you, because there's like supposed to be 12 different plots of different kind of landscaping.
Yeah,
And they're mirrored, what they call mirror gardens, which means that you can sign, if you like one, you can get the plans and recreate it at home. And that's the artist's plan. And
Why are
it's
they taking it away?
well, it's a period. It's like any gallery show or museum show. It's
Oh, they're gonna
for-
take it
but
elsewhere.
it will have hopefully a
They're not just
permanent impact
dig
on
up
the
some
area by
plants.
planting native, succulents.
I don't think they're gonna remove it. I think they're just
Yeah.
not gonna preserve it as pristinely as it is
Oh, I
now.
see.
It just
Okay.
revert.
That's awesome. Where's that at?
It's Casitas and Fletcher, that's how you can access it.
Is that as you're going toward Atwater?
Brian, where did you post that?
Well, you kind of have to be going north to Glassell Park.
East side.
You turn left at the
Otherwise-
glass shop. If you go through, you go underneath the tunnel, underneath the railroad tracks, you take the first left at the signal, the screen shop, and you go left, and you go all the way down. I don't know what that street is, you turn
Between-
left, and then you turn right.
What's
And then
the name?
It's called Bowtie Parcel.
Okay.
And
if you look at that, there's a storage facility, and there's also a building that's gonna turn into living spaces over there.
It's Greco Decor and something else.
Yeah.
That's where we park when the GPIA hosts the river cleanup every year. That's where we park everybody.
It's a no man's land you would never find unless you wanted to go.
Just to wrap it up real quick, did either of you take pictures?
I have a ton of pictures.
Let's post them
I
on
took
our
pictures.
Instagram and stuff, let's promote it.
Well, we can, except I took them for the GPIA news.
Oh.
But yeah, I can,
Touche.
yeah, I mean, I can, but they're all over the
Put them
website
on
too.
our website.
Okay.
Yeah, you can pull, there's photos
Great.
everywhere.
But I recommend everyone go and check it out. This is also, I think, where that project that this developer has been coming to.
There's a fire pit there, I think that's where they do the camping overnight as
Mhm.
well. Like they do a weekend camp thing where you can spend the night on the river
There's an
alongside
opera,
the river.
there's some opera over there going on.
Oh, yeah, and they have music.
That sounds amazing.
Performances, yeah.
And it's in Glassell Park,
I know.
it's on our side of the river.
Okay.
And it's just big, I mean, it's flat, it's useful, I mean.
And you can walk, you can go like from there, I was all the way past Sotomayor on the, on the path.
Thanks for bringing that up.
When I wish I'd known about it when we had the Make Music LA day, because that was the spot to do it.
Okay. Jane, you wanna make a public comment? Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna give you a comment already.
Hey, board member comments.
I just wanted to know, okay, thank you cards, thank you for filling them out. I just wanna know if anybody can hand them out to, I got Martins. Patty, Betancourt,
That's, Patty Bencourt is, the Glendale event coordinator that helped us out. Marie's friend.
okay, so that's Marie's. Christine,
That's her friend as well, helped with the Purdue Open.
Martin is mine, so Manuel is mine. Ophelia, that's Marie's, right?
Marie's mother.
Okay, so hold on. Robert Campagna, if anybody can give it to him.
Yes.
I haven't signed these,
Did you
by
drop
the
it
way.
right now?
Oh,
I can do it.
Dennis, oh.
I haven't gotten a chance to sign it,
You seal?
I thought it was check.
I'll write on the back, thank you very much.
Yeah, I was
That would be
alright.
fine, that would be fine, okay.
That's why I
Alright.
Great. Okay, do we have any more board member comments?
Just
Jamie?
a comment, okay, so I went to the, what do you call it, Art Walk in Frogtown the other day, and we took, the lift to get there. And once we were there, I realized it was like, it would be like a 5-minute walk if we could cross the river. But we had to go all the way around, and I was just like, that is such a shame. And Molly, you remember when we went to that park thingy, somebody was talking about building a bridge. So I just wanna say, I hope we get a bridge, and I hope that this comes up and we can all vote or take action on it at some point in the future. I hope this is a
It should
thing.
be something that the executive committee talks about to put on the agenda, because there was a bridge. It was all designed, Mitch O'Farrell did a big dog and pony about it, Brian, 5 years ago, quite some time ago. And nothing, but it's a it's a pedestrian and bicycle only bridge.
Oh, good.
And it would go from the Rio de los Angeles State Park over to, or it goes from Sotomayor over to, So it's, because a lot of kids live in Elysian Valley and they can't walk to school, even though they can see the school, because they have to go all the way to Fletcher and all the way around. So this was a solution for that. And they did a whole bunch of, and it was completely designed, there were models, and it's just been years and we haven't heard another word about it.
I'm gonna be asking
A lot of people
Hector
don't
about that.
want that bridge, I think.
Okay, any other board comments? No? Thank you, everybody, we got through it, adjourned. Hey, we adjourned.